subscribe.
The relentless willful
Is that all?
Do I want to be a father? Yes. I think it would be a disservice to this earth if I didn't reproduce. But here's the thing. Can I commit? Can I commit to being a father? No. My name is Damien. I'm originally from Fresno, California, but I currently live here in Marina del Rey. If I had to describe myself, I'd probably say I'm a hopeless romantic. I want to find love, but I'm not going to actively search for it. My favorite way to unwind, a nice little 20 to 45-minute nap, a little reset. I need to recharge. I don't really know how to relax, because once you start relaxing, you get lazy. My biggest fear is silence. If I can't hear something, I have to assume I'm dead. My ideal romantic partner is somebody who's not afraid to put me in my place. I can be a handful. Listen, I know this about myself. I need a sturdy woman who's not afraid to take charge. Really, let me have it.
This film is anti-Semitic and it must be stopped.
Nonsense! Mel Gibson is a smart, spiritual man. There's nothing anti-Semitic about it.
It has reaffirmed all of our faith in Christ.
It's made one of our little Jewish boys want to apologize for the death of Jesus.
Well, maybe you should apologize.
That's right! Yeah!
Lebe ich viel gerne, sind mir Sünd und Galgen. Das wäre Land und euch die Herde, dem man so viel Ehre gibt. Dies geschehen, dass ich hier war, ich bin gekommen an die Stadt. Gott, wenn mich Liebe hat.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a wonderful night tonight. Unfortunately, it is a little bit of a disappointing news stream with the awful news that I was given last night that Dugan Ashley was arrested the day before yesterday in front of his wife and children at his estate, where 40 unmarked federal vehicles showed up to, and an MRAP as well, to take him into custody for him being a extremist, dangerous person who's disseminating information that you can find readily online or something like that. But we will certainly get into that in a lot more detail. I am going to start out talking about it just so everyone knows. If you want to support them, do not donate to the stream. There is a link in the description of this stream, pinned comment of my video I put out, description of that video as well. That is the give, send, go for Dugan Ashley and his legal fees, and it is run, by his wife. Okay, his wife is the only person that has access to it while he is currently in custody. I had a phone call with her earlier today, which we will go over some of the additional information that we have so far. On top of that, tomorrow, there is a court date, 3 o'clock in Kansas City, and I will be making the 6-hour drive down there, hopefully to get some good news for all of you, though I wouldn't hold my breath for that. So once again, if you want to support, do not super chat, do not Ko-Fi, do not Rumble Ranch, or whatever they call it over there. Click on the link in the description of the stream to help out, and we will, as it goes on, we will get into a little bit more detail. I will wait for some more people to come in before we go through the full story, just so that I don't have to keep repeating myself throughout the stream. High points. He's currently arrested for up to 40 years of charges in federal prison, which for a man with a wife and several young children is essentially a death sentence. But before we get to that, Dank, how's your night going, sir?
Fairly good.
Yeah, better than some others, as we currently have our rights intact and are able to speak to one another. So I suppose that
I can't complain too much when a pretty chill guy, when a cool Enwa is locked up for no good reason right now.
Yes. One of the coolest Enwas, and that's something that we'll get into, is I think that regardless of some of your political disagreements with Dugan, not really relevant. I am glad to see, though, that his give, send, go when I originally shared it this morning was only at like $700, and it is nearly at $10,000 out of the $15,000 goal. I am absolutely 100% confident that we will smash that goal within the first 24 hours of it being up. And we'll see how it goes in the future, because this could be a very important case for all of us, because as much as we don't like the feds, guess what, homies? They don't like you either. So you may not agree with what Dugan was doing, allegedly, but it's not really relevant, because they will find an excuse to come after us later. So I think it is important morally, for one, to support your own, but two, tactically to support your own, okay? Because if you want people to support you and your plight, maybe you should have stuck your neck out for somebody else at some point in your useless life, okay? Because I know there's a lot of black pillars out there saying, you shouldn't have done this. I don't care. He's not me. Well, guess what, homie? I plan to do the exact same thing to you if something bad ever happens, all right? It's time to band together. It's time to work together. It's time to save one of our people rather than let the system crush them, okay? All right, buddy, shut up. Get in line. We're helping out our own, buddy, whether you like it or not, okay?
Yeah, if you don't care about the government definitely cares about you, and probably in a pretty bad way for your rights.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. Well, we're going to start off with an entirely different style of news. I guess also strange. I'm not entirely sure how true this part of it is. Dank, have you seen the drama surrounding Mr. Chud the Builder?
Yes, I have. I saw the news about an hour after it happened, and I made a thread about it in the Discord. I don't know all the facts. I only saw that one super zoomed in photo from very far away. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you're not familiar with Chud the Builder, I personally do not follow him. I don't watch any of his content other than seeing some of the funny interaction clips, of course, that go viral on Instagram or X or wherever they may be, because what would you say his style is? He's a provocateur of the Napa variety, right? He likes to just, see how far he can push buttons and maybe get him to do a little bit of the chimping, all right? A little bit of the Napa know-how, okay? To see if he can get them to do what he wants them to do. So anyways, That results in him getting lots of physical altercations, lots of death threats. And today he had to defend himself from some of these individuals who did not take kindly to his First Amendment rights being activated, so to speak. Now, this part of it, which I'm starting with, I don't know if this is true because this is from, an account that is anti-Chud the Builder. And again, I'm not anti-Chud the Builder, okay? I think what he does is at least comedically funny, if tactically unwise, if that makes sense, right? If you put yourself in a situation to be killed by these people with low impulse control, I mean, I get that, he's trying to solve the problem or at least bring awareness to the problem in a much different way. It's kind of like the difference between like a low IQ Chud. Okay, Chud the Builder's kind of a low IQ Chud, right? Brute force. All right, I'm just going to say what I feel and screw you. That's that type of approach. Or you have the high level Chud. Okay, somebody like Dugan or some of the other thought leaders out there, maybe Jordan Taylor or some of these other guys out there that are kind of like the high level Chud, the high IQ Chuds, and the low IQ Chuds. Both approaches have their benefits, you could say. All right, now I feel bad for him about his dog and son. Yeah. All right. Well, now let's get into this. So, racist streamer. Does that
No, he can't be.
Are the racist streamers in the room with us? Chud the Builder got into an altercation and shot a man. It turns out he also shot himself in the process. Now, that is only alleged. Okay, we don't have video of the actual shooting. He was streaming during the altercation. He got sucker punched. Phone falls down. We hear the altercation. We hear some shots go off. We don't know if he shot himself accidentally in the chaos or perhaps the individual in the altercation shot him. So we're not exactly sure. But Chud did get shot. Hope for a speedy recovery, of course. But we're not sure exactly where that bullet came from.
Something definitely did happen.
Chud, here he is, just kind of still, for being shot, being on a stretcher, not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. Still got a little bit of that aura, okay? Not a catastrophic aura loss, even though he got shot possibly by himself. Now, we do have the audio of the actual interaction here. And then we have him talking to cops afterwards, giving his side of the story. One thing that I will always say, just to preface, okay? Shut up. Do not ever talk to cops, okay? Even though Chud is explaining his side of the story and doing what he thinks is correct and laying out, a pretty good explanation of events, it's not a good idea to talk to cops, like ever, okay? Just don't do it, okay? That's my advice. I hope nothing but the best for Chud, okay? But that's like,
yeah,
cops.
They try to get a conviction regardless of the facts. Don't say it a word.
And this is also true. D's Nuts has an interesting point here. Worry for Chud. I don't think a jury is going to like him. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you said a mean word. We saw this in Portland, right? A white man got stabbed by a black man, called the black man the N-word. And then after being stabbed, right? Black man stabs white guy calls black guy the N-word. Perfectly appropriate response, in my opinion. It's a word. I got stabbed. I can say what I want. I can say whether I got stabbed or not, to be honest with you. But the jury in Portland then says, well, actually, he's racist, so he deserves to get stabbed. So, and Chud has said a lot worse, right? So, depending on the jury itself, if it reaches a jury trial, if the DA wants to pursue charges, there's a lot of different factors involved here. It could go very poorly for him, very, very poorly for him, which is another reason to not talk to police officers. Don't do that.
Lightheadedness.
Walked past him, he was sitting on the corner. I walked up to him because they were pointing at me. They were laughing, they were pointing at me, and I said, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing?" I said, "Y'all like the new suit?" He said, "Walk away from me." I walked away from him. He came back up to me. He literally said, "I have PTSD. I feel like I'm in." He said, "You start saying all that chimp out shit to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me, started wailing on me, even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He's still wailing on me.
Where's your weapon at?
They have everything.
What weapon is that right now? Is that yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's talking to them right now.
So he's giving his explanation there to the cops. I'm going to play this one because this one's better. This has way better quality here. But yeah, he's giving his explanation to the cops. He goes up to the guy, has a verbal altercation. He walks away, gets sucker punched, which, listen, if you're being attacked physically by anyone, regardless of really any of the variables at play here, self-defense is always on the table, right? And if you feel threatened for your life, like, you don't have to take getting sucker punched in the back of the head or getting curb stomped. Like, I mean, even in some of these more liberal states that don't have stand your ground laws, like, I believe self-defense is a always morally justifiable reason. Legally speaking, it's a little more tenuous depending on where you are, of course.
I walked up to them because they're pointing at me. They're laughing. They were pointing at me, and I said, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing?" I said, "Y'all like the new suit?" He said, "Walk away from me." I walked away from him. He came back up to me. He literally said, "I have PTSD. I feel like I'm in." He said, "You start saying all that chimp out shit to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me, started wailing on me, even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He's still wailing on me.
Where does
Just a quick little thing. Every fight can be life or death, especially so if you're concealed carrying or have a gun. If you get knocked out, there's a gun in play and you're not conscious. So that's always something to think about. If you carry, everything is life or death, essentially, if you get in some sort of altercation.
Yeah, and I mean, people keep in mind that while the liberal media, the liberals are coming for your guns, but the liberals will be like, oh, heckin' black rifles are really scary and dangerous. It's important to remember, hands and feet kill more people every year by a crazy amount than rifles, than all rifle deaths in the US, hands and feet. So yes, you absolutely can be killed. Like, again, you could fall and hit your head on the way down. It doesn't have to be the punch that kills you, right? So absolutely unacceptable to allow this sort of behavior in public. And again, that's why self-defense, even up to, the maximum amount being killing them, I think is morally justifiable. So, Your Honor, in my client's defense, the alleged victim was indeed chimping out. Yes. I do like the, hey, don't talk about chimping out in front of me. Don't talk about chimping out in front of me.
Chimps
Proceeds
out.
to chimp out. Aw, that's awkward. Now look at CNN. Look at this wonderful, and again, he's still mocking the camera even while on a stretcher getting checked out. He's like, Always be mewing, okay? You got to be mogging at all times. Cannot have a career-ending cortisol spike, whatever the kids say. All right, live streamer known for posting racist content is in custody after confrontation leads to shooting outside courthouse, DA says. Now, Chud, again, this is a little bit of an issue that I have with Chud and why he goes about it in like the most aggressive, obnoxious way possible. He caused a scene right at a restaurant the other day, and then he got asked to leave and decided not to pay his bill of like $300. And then he got a criminal complaint for that because, I mean, he was in his pursuit of going after the Napas. He tends to act quite nappish, if that makes sense. Right. So, I mean, he goes about things and he doesn't help his case in a lot of ways, which is why a lot of the other people on the right distance themselves from him because he's a bit of a loose cannon. All right. He's a bit of a firestorm. That's just like he's not. Nobody wants him politically on his side because he's like he's going to turn off all the normies. Right. So tactically speaking, not great optics, even though he is still mocking the camera here. All right. A live streamer known for posting controversial videos and using racial slurs is in custody after getting into a confrontation with a man that resulted in shots being fired in front of a Tennessee courthouse Wednesday, authorities said. The shooting happened as Dalton Etherly, who goes by Chud the Builder online, and the man were outside the Montgomery County Courthouse in Clarksville. The Tennessee District Attorney General's office said both men were shot and taken to nearby hospitals where they remain in stable condition. According to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, it is unclear how the shooting unfolded or what led up to it. Again, all we have so far is Chud's testimony, and there will be clips of the stream itself. He was streaming at the time as he got sucker punched. Camera gets knocked down, so you only hear the audio of 4 or 5 shots going off, and then the situation kind of resolves itself, I guess. It's unclear how the shooting unfolded or what led up to it. The DA's office confirmed Etherly is a suspect, but it's unclear what charges he could face. The DA's office didn't specify who fired shots, saying the matter is under investigation. Etherly live streamed himself speaking to first responders after the incident, saying, "I had to defend myself by shooting him." Again, dude, just shut up. Don't do that. He recounted walking past the man, among others, who were laughing and pointing at me. After approaching them, Etherly said the unidentified man told him to walk away before coming back to him, saying, "I have PTSD. He said, "You start saying all that chimp out shit to me, and I'm going to hit you." All right. I mean, listen, bro. Like, again, he goes
about it in a retarded way, but like, you can't assault people over saying words. I mean, you can.
You literally
but
can't. You're
there's
in public.
consequences.
And not only this, but it's one thing, like a jury might be retarded enough to be sympathetic to somebody if you were like harassing them, following them around for like an elongated period of time, getting in their face or something like that. But if you walk up to this guy and tell him to stop saying something, or I'm going to beat you, it's like, well, you know, you kind of just walked into that one, didn't you? He said you didn't have you start saying all that chimp out shooting me, I'm gonna hit you. And he hit me. He started wailing on me. What he said in the video, the streamer has several videos online in which he refers to black people as chimps. Napas is the correct term. Days earlier on Saturday, Etherly was kicked out of a restaurant and arrested in Nashville over the weekend on charges of theft of services. Again, he caused a scene at a restaurant and then walked out on his bill. So while he complains about Napas, he also has Napa tendencies.
Yeah, if memory serves me right, he called the waiter or server or somebody in the restaurant a Pajit, and then they kicked him out over it, if my memory's right.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. You still have to pay for the meal, which, am I crazy, guys?
That's a lot.
$371 for a meal. Like, I don't know. Maybe once or twice in my life have I had a meal that expensive that was like just for me. Right now, maybe he was paying for his whole team, and then $400 is, you know, if it's a nice restaurant, that's definitely doable. But if it was just himself there, like, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. A few hours after the incident, officers found Etherly walking on a street. When they told him he was under arrest and tried to place him in handcuffs, he pulled his arm away. The affidavit said he was then arrested without further incident. Etherly was later granted release on a $5,000 bond, according to a judge's order. Other videos Etherly posted on social media outline a history of using racial slurs, which this is completely unfair. Like, every other race uses so many racial slurs in their natural, normal vernacular, but it's only whites that's even an issue. So I just say racial slurs for everyone. Okay, everybody gets to use racial slurs whenever they feel like, and I have a few funny ones that I just like to pull out at times. Okay, there's appropriate moments here and there. Etherly could be seen spraying what appears to be a chemical agent. He used, I think, bear spray on somebody the other day at a black man and repeatedly calling him the N-word after the man knocked the hat off his head. Again, you may not like that. That might upset your liberal values, your progressive values, seeing some poor, unfortunate black soul being called the N-word. But you can't assault somebody and expect not to get sprayed. And honestly, like, it could have gone much worse. Much worse. Yeah, you're not allowed to assault somebody. Sorry, I don't care if you don't like the word. Not really my problem, honestly.
Don't put your hands on somebody over a word. That's retarded.
Well, you know, low impulse control, blah, 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 chimping out, as some would say, you know. Etherly's conduct has been met with criticism, including from right-wing personalities like Nick Fuentes, a well-known white nationalist and Holocaust denier. Oh, I don't even think Nick, that's not fair. No, I don't even think Nick calls himself a white nationalist anymore. I think he's moved away from that.
He's a Mexican nationalist. Come on, guys. Get it right.
That's true. He's a what do they call them? La Raza? Is that the thing? He's a La Raza nationalist. Richard, by the way, how's your day going?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Is your tire fixed?
No.
Oh, well, can't be going that good then.
Yeah, it gets better. My dash lights and stuff went out too, so good times.
I bet you're tired of that.
Okay, so as the one black guy who continues to come back to this chat, despite how much crap we give to his people, I have a question for Too Many Choices. Like, do you believe that races are different in general, right? So if we just take the average Ubuntu tribe guy and the average, like, Norwegian guy, do you think those guys are different? That's what I'm asking. Okay, do you think races are different?
I give him credit because he does keep coming back time after time.
Well, yeah, but then I'm like, well, maybe he's just into being berated. Maybe he has like some internalized like slave fetish, and that's just like it brings it to a whole nother weird level. And I'm like, I don't know. All right. Anyways, yeah. Blah blah blah. Chud the Builder gets attacked. May have shot himself. Maybe not. We're not entirely sure. But pray for his quick recovery, and also, whether you like the guy or not, can be a very important case, because if he does get charged with, let's say, attempted murder, right, and then the jury convicts him, and so there's now precedent that yes, saying words is legal precedent or is a legal defense if some animal comes to kill you, right? It's like, well, you said a bad word one time, so we're just going to have to let the guy kill you now. You can't defend yourself. You said a bad word one time. Sorry, boy, I can't let you defend yourself. You can't defend yourself when you're saying bad words, okay? Because it's like, it's making the right to defend yourself contingent upon naughty words. How retarded and gay is that, okay? Your right to self-defense is contingent on whether or not you say naughty words, okay?
Will I be allowed to shoot somebody if they call me a cracker or a mayo monkey?
Well, actually, you know what, Dink? You might actually be immune to a murder charge because it's because we don't know exactly what race you are, right? So you could just say, if they've said any racial slur against white, black, Mexican, Native American, like any slurs, like you're automatically off the hook because that slur would then be against you, So you have like full spectrum.
I'm enough of a mutt that I could get away with it. My ancestors race mixed enough that I could get away with it no matter what, guys.
Yeah, are ethnically
I got a
ambiguous
superpower.
for sure.
Well, I mean, there's a couple ethnically ambiguous people on the chat at times. It's all right.
God.
But anyways, that is Chud the Builder. I hope that all goes well for him. Well, I think we're going to change directions a little bit, because I want to wait until we have basically peak viewership before we talk about the Dugan case and talking to his wife today and what's happening tomorrow. So for everyone that's in the chat that wasn't here at the beginning, we're about to talk about it. Don't you worry. We're just going to get through some silly little gun news, maybe some cool stuff as well, which is ironic for this show that used to be built upon gun-only content. It has now branched out a little bit. But here we go. Beretta is celebrating its 500th anniversary. Yes, a gun company is celebrating its 500th anniversary, and they decided to come out with the Titan. It is a one-off anniversary special based off of their NARP platform, the new assault rifle platform, which is like saying platform twice when you say the NARP platform. But it is a one-off from them with some very, very interesting choices that is going to tickle the autism of almost every single person in chat, okay? You like 6.5 Grendel, you're going to like this. You like carbon fiber, you're going to like this. You like piston guns, this is okay. This is full spectrum autism, okay? It's trying to grab, it's like Dank, okay? It's combining all of the different things into one gun so that even if you're not into this, but you're into that, you are going to like the Titan, okay? Now, I'm not going to be able to play this full video, but there is going to be some familiar faces in here because myself, Lost Arrow, who's in the chat, we got to chat with one of the guys that's in this video that has some development on the NARP platform. Forging tomorrow, of course.
In recent years, a new innovative category of firearms has gained space in the international arena, the modern sporting rifles. Beretta now launches its interpretation of this exciting category. Inspired by functional genetics and aeronautical-grade materials, the Beretta Titan is born to be a natural extension of the user and pushes to new limits its features of modularity, versatility, and accuracy.
So I got to be careful here because I don't want to get zonked by the tube, but let me see here. Let's get to where we got. This is him. This is Ricardo. Okay, this guy made us coffee in the Beretta Defense booth at SHOT Show this year. former Italian Special Forces, I want to say. He also works in the for Beretta as a product tester and developer. So we actually got to talk to this very nice young man at the Beretta booth this year, and he got to walk us through the NARP, which is a little different than the Titan.
Needs and the collector's cabinet with seamless grace. Engineered for precision and reliability, the Titan is chambered in 6.5 grander.
So this is based off of the NARP platform. So if you're not familiar with this, I don't know if we need anything else specifically from this video here, other than to say that they went all out with the wacky, because keep in mind, this is a 500th anniversary special, one-off, limited edition. You know, it's only going to drop this one time. There's only going to be a few of these, and it's combining like everything that they could do with the current, you know, materials and platforms into one gun, basically. So inspired by functional genetics, I don't know what that means, as opposed to dysfunctional genetics, and aeronautical grade materials, the Beretta Titan is born to be what? Is born to be a for the first time? What?
Speaking of functional genetics.
Yeah, maybe not functional English. That's okay. Maybe it's translated, okay, from Italian. But so here we have the carbon fiber, stock, magnesium, and titanium receiver. Now, this is interesting to me because titanium is stronger than aluminum, but it's also heavier. Magnesium is a lot lighter. So I'm wondering what they used for titanium, like what parts are actually titanium. So we have carbon fiber buttstock, carbon fiber handguard. And again, keep in mind, all of this stuff is modular because it's the NARP, so it all pins on and off and can be swapped, I imagine, with the rest of their platform. This one specifically, the Titan, comes in a 18-inch 6.5 Grendel. So for you Grendel nerds out there, this is the same setup that the Praetorian is for the French GIGN. So not just a rifle. It is just a rifle, but it is actually literally just a rifle. The Titan project introduces groundbreaking applications for Beretta, blending aesthetics with advanced engineering. Built with magnesium, titanium, and carbon fiber, the Beretta Titan redefines modularity, versatility, and accuracy. Rigorous testing confirms its superior performance, marking a milestone for the rifles of tomorrow. All right, stylish durability. It does look interesting. Carbon fiber and Alcantara, which is like a expensive leather alternative that's lighter and much more expensive, which is okay.
It's the thing they put in fancy cars.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you'll get Alcantara seats, which is like a $4,000 option in some cars, right? It's very expensive. A tribute to 500 years of excellence. The receiver's exclusive gray camo pattern subtly incorporates the date 1526, handwritten by Bartolomeo Beretta. I think they're on their 14th generation, I want to say. Something like that. It's obviously 500 years. It's been a while. Now, in the document that marks
century. It's crazy.
No. Half a millennia.
Oh,
5 centuries. Half a millennia.
5 centuries. I'm retarded.
That's like 50 years. Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. Handwritten, by Bartolomeo Beretta in the document that marks the origins of the company over 5 centuries ago. A Beretta 500 years logo insert is set into the forged carbon pistol grip, while a discreet detail at the front of the Picatinny rail pays tribute to the first spark ignited in Bartolomew's forge, still living on today. Developed now, this is I think this is just, it's going to come with this specific Steiner optic. I don't know why, but that's fine. You know, Steiner makes good optics, so it's probably a good combination with the 6.5 Grendel caliber as well. Now, keep in mind, this is not a shooter's gun. Okay. This is not some hard use gun. This is not a competition rifle. This is for rich collectors, okay, who do not mind dropping 10 to 20 grand on a rifle. If I had to guess, this is going to be somewhere between $10,000 and $25,000. This is a collector's piece. This is a statement. This is like, I'm a Beretta fanboy and I need to have, you know, it's like the same guys that own like a gold-plated Beretta or whatever it might be. They might be interested in that. Me and you, we just want the NARP, right? We just want the Praetorian. We just want the regular, like a duty rifle. We don't need all the extra bells and whistles and carbon fiber and magnesium and titanium. We just want the base rifle, right?
This is going to be behind a glass case for the vast majority of
exactly,
people.
exactly. I guarantee you very few people will ever shoot their Titan. So, materials from the future. The use of advanced high-performance materials increase rifle stiffness while reducing overall weight. Magnesium for the lower receiver. Okay. Titanium for the upper receiver. Really? That is interesting. So, the upper receiver is titanium. That has got to be insanely expensive to produce that right there. I mean, because if it's not a forging, it's just a billet block of titanium. Magnesium is not cheap either. So, the low receiver is magnesium, upper receiver titanium, which is interesting because you actually probably cancel out the weight savings because anything, because the weight savings of the lower receiver, you probably save like 3 or 4 ounces, and then you're definitely adding at least 3 or 4 ounces into the upper receiver. So it's kind of a wash there, almost like aluminum is just a really good mix of everything. But I get it. It's going to be different, okay? All new materials and components are rigorously tested for resistance to firing pressures and long-term durability. Beretta combines advanced multi-physics simulations, okay, with extreme physical testing in its factory facility, to guarantee proven strength, reliability, and performance under intense use. Professional caliber, well, 6.5 Grendel in America is kind of an autistic caliber more than a professional caliber. Although, again, it does have adoption in places like France and other places. All right. Technical features. So it's the Titan one-off, 6.5 Grendel, short stroke piston, 2-stage trigger, magnesium, titanium components, Steiner optics ready, structural rigidity, blah, blah, blah. They, as far as I'm aware, they do not yet have a price listed on this thing. But I will say, okay, I'm not a fan of carbon fiber, generally speaking. I don't need space age. You know, I have like magnesium carbon fiber upper receiver outside. That's like, okay, that's interesting, but I don't need that stuff. Okay. I'm very simple. I'm very plain. Just give me the 7075 aluminum. And I think that that's going to be good for 99.9% of applications. However, again, that's not what this is. This is like somebody who buys like the limited edition one-off, you know, Lambo or Ferrari or whatever it might be. That's like the special edition, or like a Pagani or something like that. Okay. Most people aren't tracking their Paganis. Okay. They're driving them around from club to club, basically. Okay. That's what this is. And for those kind of autistic nerds who want to spend, again, $25K on a rifle in comparison to other luxury items, you know, like people walking around with $100,000 watches or whatnot, like it's not the most egregious use of your money in existence, right?
Yeah, this is neat the same way a luxury watch is neat, but you should probably just wear a Casio.
Exactly. Yeah, they both tell time the same way. In the same way, this still shoots 6.5 Grendel, which is a fine caliber, you know? Now, if they came out, if they imported, which I hope that they are, if they import the standard NARP in 6.5 Grendel, absolutely, I would be interested in that. It'd probably cost somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000. But at least that's more usable or more attainable, at least for more people, than something like this. That is, again, a one-off 500th anniversary collector's edition item. Richard, what do you think about this? Would you run this in a 3-gun match?
Absolutely.
It would be hilarious to actually show up and use this and put like 20,000 rounds through it, because like what happens if you do use this really hard and like a part breaks like 5 years from now or something, like the stock or the grip, you know? And it's like, hey, do you have any more of those laying around? And they just look at you blank face like, no, no, we don't have any more of our one-off 500th anniversary rifle, you know, additional components laying around here.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the QD in the on the rear there. I think that might be a weak point, but
yeah, for all the time that we're slinging it around, hunting with it, I agree. Yes. Now, it does look like it's a metal insert in there. From what I can tell, I don't know if it's high res enough for you guys to see, but it looks like some sort of aluminum or steel insert into the magnesium. Yeah, as that probably would not be great. But I mean, listen, they're giving you a carbon fiber Alcantara case, which is probably like a couple grand by itself, right? The case that it's in is probably insanely expensive. Right. I don't even know what a full rifle Alcantara carbon fiber case would run you. It probably is some insane number. The case itself is probably more expensive than the most expensive rifle I've ever bought. And yeah, I agree. It is. It is. It's 100% out of my tax bracket. It's not. This is not a work gun. This is not a useful gun. Somebody's like, oh, I would never spend that much money. It's like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I would never spend money on a Ferrari or a Lambo. When you can get in a new Corvette, you can get like 96% of the performance for 1/3 the money. I'm like, well, yeah, of course, but we're not those people. We're not going around to islands on private jets and whatnot. We're not in this tax bracket. Okay, it's not something we have to worry about. I just think it's cool. Okay, it's just neat. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm not.
But there we go.
Man.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said I'm not an adrenochrome man.
Yeah, no, I don't. All right. Well, how about the polar opposite? Still wacky, still strange. I think Mark LaRue might have lost his mind. He might have actually gone insane. Okay, somebody actually might need to do a wellness check. Okay, maybe the Fed should be raiding his house. Okay, because I think he might have lost it because he came out with the Bar None, which is a bolt action, 50 state legal, 1 MOA guaranteed rifle. Now I'm going to hide it for a second because I hope you two haven't seen this yet. So there is a 300 blackout option. Okay. Now what barrel length do you think they offer in 300 blackout?
It's either something retardedly long or retardedly short.
Take a guess.
16.
I'll go with 16 too. I can't think of anything.
The only option they have for 300 blackout is 20 inches long.
What?
That's an interesting choice. I was gonna, yeah.
Yes.
Marky Mark.
That's awesome.
No way.
Marky Mark, in his infinite wisdom, decided to offer you the small bore, the small one, right? AR-15 size, even though no gas block, no gas tube, no charging handle. It's a bolt action, right? That is in 20-inch 5.56 or 20-inch 300 blackout. And I believe that is because the purpose of the Bar None is to truly be 50 state legal. Okay. So they can't even offer you an 18-inch version or a 16-inch version, right? Because there's a couple states that it's like, well, actually, it needs to be 18.5 or whatever it is, right? I think there's a couple states out there that have an 18-inch barrel length minimum. So for Marky Mark, he's like, you know what? 20 inches. That's it. Ta-da! 20 inches only, 5.56, and 300 blackout for the small frame. For the large frame, 24 inches only, I believe. 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, and maybe one others. But now we do have some more details of it here. So now what is nice, though, is you can get a LaRue rifle with most of the features for $9.99.
Oh, that's not even that bad. I was expecting a whole lot more from LaRue.
Well, what's kind of funny is for a 1 MOA bolt action rifle,
that's really good.
$1,000 isn't bad.
Yeah, that's good.
Right? I mean, like if I'm going to go out there and buy a 1 MOA like precision bolt action rifle, $1,000 isn't bad. It obviously is AR mag compatible. I can get a 6.5 Creedmoor for $1,200. I think the large frame is $200 more expensive. So it's like,
yeah, and it's not awful. It's AR fire control group, AR furniture, so it's easy enough to make it yours too.
And I mean, you don't really need to change much on it though, because I mean, it's got the LaRue stealth lockup, so the handguard is bolted to the upper receiver, pretty much rock solid, pretty much perfect in that aspect. You're going to have AR magazine compatibility, which, you know, some real PRS guys might not like that because they can't load their bullets as long, so they might have a little problem there. You have the LaRue trigger stock, which is pretty good. There for 99% of people, you're not going to need to upgrade that. Some of you nerds out there might want to upgrade to a Geisley. LaRue guys just got triggered, or a Trigger Tech, or some of the other really nice tricked out AR style triggers on the market. But it's not terrible, you know. So I mean, the value wise, I kind of get it, but it's just you got to get over the shock of the fact that he came out with a bolt action AR as a new product in 2026. All right, so the Bar None, LaRue Bar None bolt-action rifle. It's a bolt-action rifle engineered and manufactured in Leander, Texas, built in-house on the same floor where every LaRue rifle is born. For 45 years, LaRue has chased one obsession, rifles and components that hit dead center every time. The Bar None is the next answer, a platformer find, then hardened for the field. Every receiver, every rail, every barrel is cut, finished, tested under one roof in Leander, Texas. No outsourced critical path, no excuses, which is the one thing nice about LaRue, right? Making their actual stuff in-house, kind of sweet. Now, the introductory price, you have 20-inch barrels for the 5.56 and 300 blackout. Those are the only two options for the small blocks. The big blocks, $1,250, and you have 24-inch barrel only for 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, there is a catch, though. So Mark LaRue says, why the low price? Number one, it's an introductory price. Number two, the Bar None requires fewer precision components to be inside. No gas system, no gas block, no gas tube, no gas key, no heavy bolt carrier, no forward assist, doodads, no charging handle, no tuned buffer spring, no time-consuming precision gas holes machined into the barrel, et cetera, right? Because there are a lot of components that you just don't need. You don't need a buffer system. You don't need a charging handle. It's built into the BCG. Your BCG can be a lot simpler, right? Because it's not dealing with gas or anything else like that. All it has to do is eject. No gas block, no gas tube, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And it's actually easier to make it more accurate because it's no longer a gas gun. Now, three things that every Bar None ships with: LaRue tactical match grade barrel and a LaRue bolt action upper. So sub MOA guarantee from the factory, which is every LaRue that I've shot has been able to achieve MOA or better with me behind it, which is usually pretty good. That's a good sign. If I can get MOA 5-shot groups out of a gun, usually it's in a good category. Built in-house, CNC machined in-house from bill of components, lifetime guarantee, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so the wild choice, though, is the fact that actually, does somebody make a factory gun that has a 20-inch 300 blackout barrel, or is this the only one? Is there another place that you can get a factory 20-inch 300 blackout?
My knowledge, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but I don't think so.
And I mean, and even for the 24-inch barrels, like 24-inch 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor is pretty long boy. I mean, I'm almost tempted to put down 1250 and get one in 6.5 Creedmoor. It's pretty funny. And again, one of the other parts is that the Bar None is actually 50 state compatible because it's not semi-automatic. It's got a 20-inch barrel in it. I mean, it's a bolt action rifle.
Everybody who lives in a retarded state could have something that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, listen.
And it doesn't break the bank either.
Yeah, don't think of it like an AR. Think of it as, like, honestly, a mid-tier bolt action rifle. Like, that's what it is. It's a mid-tier bolt-action rifle from LaRue. Like, if you were going to try and get a LaRue gas gun in 308, it's like 25 minimum, 2,500, maybe 3K minimum for a gas gun 308 from LaRue for a complete rifle. Whereas this is like 1/3 the cost almost, right? At least 1/2 the cost. It's very inexpensive. So if you're not using it for gas gun things, if you just want an accurized precision gun that you can, do some mid-range work with, kind of cool. And it does look like it's a left side bolt, which means that you're going to be left side charging, which is actually kind of nice for right-handed shooters, right? Because you're going to be left side charging. You don't need to take your hand off of the grip. Your firing grip doesn't need to change. Kind of nice. The uppers were around 2K and the LT10 lowers were around 800, so about 3K for a complete rifle. So yeah, interesting. It is an interesting combination of parts that, the only really ridiculous part of it is if somebody buys a 20-inch 300 blackout, like does a $2,500 20-inch 300 blackout even gain any velocity? Is there enough powder in a 20-inch 300 blackout to take advantage of what's in there? And it's even worse, right? If it's subsonic, does having that extra barrel push some of these projectiles, that are right on the edge, like an FTX from Hornady, a 190, 194 grain, something like that is pushing like 1,000 FPS out of a 10-inch barrel. Well, out of a 20-inch barrel, are we now squeaking into supersonic territory, right? Or honestly, ironically, does it slow the bullet down more because the powder's already burned by that point? I mean, it is interesting. So again, $1,000 or $1,250. I might.
I am very.
Okay.
I already have the website open. I might order one right after stream.
I mean, listen. Okay, I'm selling myself on it. The more I talk about it, okay, that's the silly part. All right. Well, let's go ahead and oh shoot, did somebody send me a reel of it working? Let me see. Well, I can't show this on screen, but I am watching somebody shoot it. Yeah, it is just a left side charge, and it's just a straight pull back. So it's a straight pull bolt action as well. Straight pull. There's no lever or cocking action because it still has the rotating bolt. So the rotating bolt holds it in place, and then you with the cam system unlock it and relock it, right?
Yeah,
and it does still seem like there is something in the buffer tube because he's pulling and releasing when he's shooting. So there is still a buffer tube that will push the bolt forward for you. And so you're basically just racking it like it's a normal AR, just with a left side charger, like a dog leg or a devil dog, or a Gibbs, I think, has a left side charger as well. It's basically just that with no ability for semi-automatic fire.
That is
right.
neat.
So maybe I can show this. Right. So you guys get it. And then it locks back in the last round, of course. Interesting. So, I mean, I kind of like that because, again, you never have to take your fire and grip off. So as long as you're comfortable with, using your left hand for charging, which we all should be, it's not really that much of a problem. I do find it funny because that somebody for the first time racking this thing is going to go for it, try and go real quick, and then immediately punch themselves in the face while attempting to charge the gun quickly. That is absolutely going to happen.
Can't wait to buy one and put a bunch of Geisley stuff on it.
That would also be funny. Yes. There we go. Okay. Now, in another bit of silliness, real quick story, real quick story here. Odin Works has decided to come out with a 2-stage buffer system thingamajig that is designed to work specifically with forced reset triggers. Now, I think Cody might have been running these for a little while. I will need to ask him about them, Cody from Red Right Hand, of course, to see if these actually do improve reliability with FRTs, because FRTs are kind of like the new market, the new frontier in the gun industry, if you will. And so while there's so many of them that are out there, it's like it's a bit of black magic. It's a bit of science to actually get all these wacky FRTs to play nicely together. Okay. And so this is just another one of those solutions that's, I suppose, attempting to help people achieve a higher level of reliability. So introducing the Odin Works H-FRT buffers for force reset triggers. Engineered for AR-15 and AR-9 platforms, the H-FRT buffer system is designed to deliver more reliable cycling, smoother recoil impulse, and reduce wear on moving components featuring increased buffered weight and proprietary flat wire spring. These systems offer consistent performance across a wide range of setups without the need for constant tuning. Built to run hard, engineered to stay consistent, yada, 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 yada. So I'm curious, does anybody that I trust anyways have any real experience with this stuff or no? But again,
I don't trust
it's another little add-on to the FRT guys out there that are scrambling for every bit of reliability they can. Task Force says cool concept if it actually works. Yes, that's always the thing. FRT is super cool in concept when they actually work. Now, some of you were upset a little while ago, understandably so, when one of the best optics of all time, the Sig Romeo 8T, when Sig decided to circumcise the Sig Romeo 8T AMR. And in fact, the Sig 8T AMR at a certain point in time really shouldn't have had the 8T name, because the T in the 8T is for titanium, which is the titanium shroud. But due to rising anti-Sigurtism and pressure placed upon Sig to update their optics lineup, they have reattached surgically the foreskin onto the Sig Romeo 8T AMR. So now you can get back your titanium foreskin on your 8T AMR as it should have been from the factory. So now, yes, you have even more T in your 8T AMR. No, they did not fix the blue notch filter. No, they did not return to aspheric lenses. Stop asking about that. But they did give you back your foreskin. And they also increased the price by $70.
Oh.
It's like, damn it. Well, there is no free lunches, but yeah, the Romeo AT AMR Shroud takes the proven performance of the AT AMR, suspect platform, and elevates it with a precision machined titanium shroud designed for hard use professionals. The reinforced external structure mitigates harsh impact forces while protecting critical optical and electronic systems in the most extreme environments. Available in black or FDE. Well, now because I got one of the AT AMRs behind me. It's sitting on the Mod 1A actually. And now I got to get the 8TT. Okay, I got to get my foreskin back.
Yeah, why would they do it the other way in the first place? I guess cost, but
well, technically speaking, there is a version of the Sig Romeo 8 that is not the 8T, but it doesn't have the shroud on it, so they call it the Sig Romeo 8. Or I think it might be like the 8H or something like that. But the 8T specifically, the one that's also on a rifle behind me, is the one with the titanium shroud. So the 8T AMR should have just been called the 8 AMR, and this is the 8T AMR. So the standard non-circumcised version, or the circumcised version, is cheaper. It's like $70-$80 cheaper. I think these are currently retailing when they actually launch. The prices that I've seen are in the low $700 range, which is pretty expensive for a red dot. The nice thing about the AMRs is that they're like the low $600 range. So you're adding $70 to $100 for the titanium shroud on an optic that's subpar to the original 8T. Now, somebody did tell me that I can't buy them, of course, because Palmetto State Armory won't ship anything to me. But they had the original 8Ts on sale at PSA for $450 for what was at one point in time like the most expensive red dot on the planet, like $450 for, again, an optic that usually retails for like $700 or $800. So it was a very good deal. Unfortunately, I cannot purchase one, and I don't need one. I have an 8T, I have an 8T AMR, c'est la vie. But for all those guys who wanted more T in their optics, the 8TT AMR. Okay, on the opposite side of the spectrum, however, we have a new series of optics, an even cheaper lineup of optics, because the bottom is kind of falling out, if you will, of the optics market. Okay, things are going slow. We've got tumultuous relationships across the world right now, and there is so much competition, specifically in the low end of the optics market, that everybody is pushing red dots and prisms cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So Primary Arms has a new lineup of their CLX series, which is classic, silver, gold, platinum, right? So classic is the very bottom of the barrel. It's the lowest option out there, and it's also the cheapest option out there. Yes, they're made in either, China, Philippines, Malaysia, somewhere like that, maybe Taiwan, who knows. But they have a new red dot, the CLX RD23, which is just a 23 millimeter red dot window. It's probably whatever, who cares? Anyways, the three things that are probably more interesting for the gentlemen in the chat and on the panel is the new CLX 3X prism, which actually has a way larger objective than the SLX and GLX line of prisms. So, and it also has a different reticle, which we'll get into in just a minute. One of the things that people don't like, or some people love, some people hate, about Primary Arms prisms is that they all come with the center chevron. All of them, right? And so some people like that. Some people hate that. Some people abhor the chevron reticles. I'm kind of indifferent depending on application. However, on the CLX, now you're going to get a center dot reticle with BDC, which we'll look at in just a second. And also it has the largest objective out of any of their current prism lineup. So this one, funnily enough, might be the cheapest prism in their lineup outside of the 1X, but might actually be the one to go for. And then they have a new 1X prism. I am not a 1X prism guy. My astigmatism is nowhere near bad enough to demand a 1X prism. So for me, I just say, that's cool for some people out there. Not for me, though. Also new on the one.
I was going to say it's only for the disabled.
Well, yes, that's the stiggers, right? We got Siggers, we got Stiggers, we got. Leave that off. But another update to the classic line of prisms is that they have the T2 footprint, right? So rather than the mini ACOG, they now have the T2 footprint. So you have even more options for risers than you did before. And I'm not saying that as like, oh, you need a tall riser for your 1X prism or for your 3X prisms. I'm just saying that if you want a low mount, you want a high mount, you want anything in between, you can tailor it basically to your little greedy heart's content, okay? The only minor miss that I wish they would do on the classic 3X is if they added some sort of top dot mounting capability native to it. I think that would make people lose their minds, right? Because you have a cheap $200 prism that has the ability to slap an RMR directly on top. Like, I think people would really like that. But moving on to the last option, which will also interest some of you, because the Holosun EPS ushered in a new wave, a entirely new generation of enclosed pistol optics. And now everybody has a micro enclosed RMR, Delta Point Pro, RMSC footprint enclosed red dot. So you have Holosun EPS was the first one to do it. EPS carry. You have now the Vortex Defender enclosed, the Vortex Venom enclosed. You have the O-Sight, whatever they call it, the SE or something like that. You have the Trigicon RCR. You have all of these different options out there for a enclosed red dot that is not acro style. I don't like acro because if your if your pistol is not cut for an acro style optic, then you always have to be using some sort of nonsense riser plate, and you're now attaching optics to plates to guns rather than just direct mounting them the way that it should be. So Primary Arms coming out with another cheap option, sub $200. There's now like 6 brands that offer a similar product in this sub $200 range. You know, O-Sight is in there. Holosun's not quite in there. They're a little bit more. You have like Siley, Vortex has 2 options. Primary Arms now has an option. I'm sure like, you know, Gideon and the other guys have a similar option for a enclosed micro red dot that goes on concealed carry pistols. And you know, the funny thing is we're kind of in a golden age for pistol red dots because they're almost all good. They're almost all fine. They're almost all decent enough. Like even if you're like a few years ago spending $150 on a red dot for a pistol, guaranteed you failure, guaranteed you disappointment, right? Especially if you shot a lot. Nowadays, it's like people are putting like 20, 30, 40,000 rounds on like a Siley Cat, you know, or some of these other pistol options. And it's like, they're, you know, barely over $200 or barely under $200, right? So we're kind of in a golden age for optics because red dots, pretty simple, pretty figured out at this point. And there's really no reason other than, you know, the meta reasons to support American companies to buy something like a Trigicon or a Leopold or some of the other optics on the market, right? I get the meta reasons to support American companies, but from a performance standpoint, from a value standpoint, like they all just get BTFO'd by Chinese offerings. They just do at this point in time. And Holosun in a lot of ways is just outright better than Trigicon's modern offerings. So unfortunately, we have not seen the same level of innovation and improvement and price competition in the American market that we have seen with the overseas market. And I know that it always triggers people when I say that, but it's just true. Like modern red dots almost across the board are very good. Almost all of them are very good. Yes, and I mean, there's maybe a little bit more competition. Somebody just pointed it out. It's interesting that Primary Arms is also the guys that are like, hey, here's like the cheapest, you know, we're now competing in the bottom level price category for optics and also the highest level price category for, especially for pistol red dots, you know, with the HTX1, which I think is still sitting at 700, 750, roughly somewhere in that range, which again puts it in the top echelon for pistol optics. I think maybe it's only beaten out by like a 1 or 2 Trigicon options and maybe an Acro P2. I don't even know what does an Acro P2 go for, like 550, 600, something in that range. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get back. Oh, wait, no, before we do, sorry. I need to get into the reticle. So what I was mentioning earlier about the classic 3X prism, a lot of people absolutely hate the chevron. Well, now it's gone. You got a very simple dot. You got some Stadia lines to draw your eyes to the center, and you got a really simple BDC, which, newsflash, buddy, okay, that's maximum white rage right there. Newsflash, buddy. A BDC on a 3X prism is more than appropriate for the standard engagement ranges of, say, 500 yards, right? And I think people will actually like this simplistic, easy to understand, very, non-BS reticle, let's say. A lot of the ACSS reticles can be very useful. They have a lot of capability, of course, but some people just need something a little simpler, okay? I don't need the auto ranging. I don't need the wind holds. I don't need the, the mover holds. It's 3x prism that I'm going to be putting on my gun and maybe shooting out to 300 or 400 yards realistically, okay? Give me a nice center dot to use. Give me a BDC and I'll be happy, all right? I'll be happy. So that is what they have for prisms right now. And I think that you guys will. The 1x prism, I'm not excited for. I don't care. I don't need 1x prisms. The reticles like center dot, donut of death. Whatever. It's a 1x prism. Like, what do you want? What do you want from me?
Just get better eyes if you can't use a red dot. I don't know.
That's true. Just ask the Chinese government, okay? You need to start organ harvesting. You should be organ maxing, okay? You think you're prepared for the apocalypse?
Retard.
You think you're prepared for the apocalypse, but you don't have spare kidneys and livers in the freezer ready to go for when yours start to give out. Okay, you're not going to make it. Not going to make it, okay? I've got all the spare organs I could ever need in the deep freeze, okay? Well, speaking of being put into the deep freeze, unfortunately, we'll get to the main topic of the evening today, and that is Dugan Ashley, real name Jordan Derrick, being arrested by the feds yesterday early in the morning. Now, I hope you guys have already seen the video that I put out on my channel. As soon as I heard about it, I said I would make a video to get the word out, and that is exactly what I did. I think I ended up getting that finished at around like 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday. I am dropping the link for his Give, Send, Go in the Rumble and in the YouTube chat. Keep in mind that I verified through his wife, who I had a phone call with today, and through several other people that are close to the family, that this GoFundMe, this Give, Send, Go, the wife is the only person that has access to it. So this money is actually going to the family. So I am going to recount you the events that led up to this. And I had a phone call with, I don't know if she wants her name out there. Okay, well, it says right there, Phoebe. Okay, so I had a phone call today with Phoebe for about 30 minutes. I hope to be driving down there tomorrow and actually seeing them in person at the courthouse, and just kind of doing what I can to support them, to raise awareness for them, and to hopefully get them the money and the support that they need right in this, because we actually do need to win this one specifically. Okay, so yesterday morning, I believe, Phoebe, Jordan, they're out doing their thing. It's early in the morning. They have kids who are still asleep at this time, young toddlers and whatnot, when approximately 30 to 40 FBI vehicles show up at their door, box them inside of the house in multiple directions. They bring an MRAP up to the front door with a loudspeaker. Like, the amount of hardware here to detain one American citizen on his property as he's like getting ready to feed his farm animals is absolutely atrocious, right? I mean, they're bringing like a small army, okay, to come take this guy in. So they box in with the MRAP up front. They have 30 to 40 vehicles basically surrounding them on all sides, so to speak. We're talking upwards of 100 officers at least there at the time. Loudspeaker comes on, blah, blah, blah. You need to come out with your hands up, yada, yada, yada. Jordan, Dugan Ashley. I'm just going to refer to him as Dugan in this, even though his real name is Jordan, but I'm just going to call him Dugan because that helps everybody keep things straight. Dugan talks to his wife a little bit, says, okay, I'm going outside, goes outside, hands up, $1 million worth of hardware staring him down basically as he goes out there. He's able to talk to them, have everything transition nicely, no problems. His wife and children are then directed to come out. They do not, this is coming from her. They did not point their weapons at the wife or kids at all. And the transition from them being inside the house to them going outside the house was handled very professionally. They were very kind to all of them. They made sure that the kids were taken care of. There was basically everyone that she saw was an FBI agent, and there was only one DHS agent there, I believe. Again, that's just from what she remembers from the time. I'm sure this is kind of like a blur. They end up taking him away to get booked, right? Doing all of that sort of stuff, take a bunch of stuff from the house, search everything, of course. And again, in her own words, very professional, very nice to the kids, and, as supposedly nice as they could be during this time. So At this point in time, she doesn't even know really what the charges are. She just knows that the feds are here, they're taking my husband, and that's it, right? That's really all that she knows at this point in time. Now, it comes out, here is the actual press release that they put out last night, and this is when I heard about it and what was shared with me. So, Sweet Springs, Missouri man charged with manufacturing explosives, unlawfully possessing an unregistered destructive device, which could literally be anything. We don't know what that is yet, and distributing information relating to manufacturing explosives. Now, the 3 charges that they have so far hit him with, not including what could be added at a later point in time, is already 40 years in prison. Dugan is a married 40-year-old man with young children. 40 years in prison is basically a death sentence. Right now, if you're not familiar with Dugan's online arc, in the early 2010s, he starts Carnicon with a couple of buddies, wildly successful, one of the original gun tubers, very, very popular, a pioneer in the space that kind of allows all of us to operate in here. He's kind of the guy that set a lot of the ground rules and set the tempo for that style of content. Much of what you see nowadays from some of the big guys is essentially aping what he used to do back in the day. He then had a very scary health incident after he stepped away from YouTube with MS, which he is still going through. He actually had his MS treatment like the day before he got arrested. And so he was already kind of like out of the loop when, hundreds of officers show up at your door to take you away, which is not super fun, of course. So he had a terrible health incident with MS. He managed to make it through there. He managed to, basically kind of get back to a spot where he's relatively healthy, relatively able to do things again. He starts going down this online explosives informational videos. I'm not an explosives guy. I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to touch that style of content with a 10-foot pole. As far as I can tell, what he was doing was very publicly available stuff and testing and like
science book. I've watched plenty of the videos that they're
I've watched some of the videos. I don't know what's going on in that, but it's like
they're interesting.
Sure.
But
I don't understand how it's possibly illegal, because essentially what's going on in his videos, from what I can tell, is he read the textbook, which you can just buy. You can Google this stuff. This is just information that exists on the internet. And then he followed the step-by-step process, which is, again, it's a mechanical process. It's like, imagine somebody saying 2 + 2 is 4, but you can't know, or I can't tell you that 2 + 2 is 4, even though it's just like, it's in the textbook right there, which it strikes me as very strange that the information itself being transmitted to other people is somehow illegal, when places like eBay and Amazon and other places have hosted the information in a book format. Right? You can just buy the book.
Almost every like military surplus website or somebody who sells military surplus probably has a manual that you could buy on explosives for $5.
Yeah, and again, whether it's the improvised munitions handbook, whether it's the anarchist cookbook, whether it's some of the other ones that are out there, I believe that Rads is correct that they have to prove intent, which is very difficult to do. To instruct for criminal use. Now, what they're trying, if you go through this article, which I've gone through it multiple times at this point, but just for reference, they're attempting to connect Dugan with this individual here, this lovely young man named Shamsud Din Jabbar, who allegedly had Dugan's videos downloaded to his phone or downloaded to one of his devices. So what they're trying to prove here, what they're trying to connect, is that no, Dugan Ashley knowingly transferred information to a terrorist. By the way, FBI, rather than arresting Dugan, maybe this guy shouldn't be in the country, okay? Kash Patel, all right, buddy? I'm just saying, maybe if you had your priorities straight, we wouldn't have these issues in the first place, okay? Maybe, checks notes, Shamsud Din Jabbar shouldn't be here in the first place to carry out some sort of terrorist attack. And linking Dugan to this this Dugan's ideology is the opposite of whatever is not rolling around in this guy's head, because I doubt it's very much. Okay. And also, what's funny about this attack is that the devices that this retard was able to come up with were inert. They did not go off. They were disposed of. So they're trying to attach a failed terrorist attack by somebody who has a opposite ideology to Dugan, and saying that Dugan is transmitting this information knowingly to inspire terrorism
because he uploaded YouTube videos
and it's
about
the same thing.
different
Like,
explosive compounds and like thermites.
Okay, if I show people how to weld on like a bar on the front of a car, okay, you know how to like protect your car with a deer rack or something like that, okay, and then somebody uses that information to then do that and run over people, like, in no way could the information that I'm putting out be logically tied to directly to that action, you know, not at all. And it's such a nonsensical leap to me that it seems purely punitive. And again, another element that I just absolutely grinds my gears, so to speak, okay, is that you have just monsters running free, okay? You have YNs in the hood walking around openly with switches with their faces exposed, and they're allowed to operate, but a dude who makes videos in his garage is supporting terrorism, right? Imagine the use of funds. They're going to go after Dugan with hundreds of officers and millions of dollars worth of hardware, rather than getting people off the streets who are actively destroying society, murdering, killing, raping, and doing all the things that we actually care about. And to do that, they're going to be like, well, no, didn't you see the failed attack there? He had like a video online. I got to tell you, okay?
He downloaded a YouTube video about scientific.
There are evil people that have watched my videos and learned something from them. I guarantee you. There are evil people who have watched a Lucas Botkin video, a training video from any of your favorite trainers, and have planned to do something evil with that information, or tried to do something evil with that information, right? I guarantee you that has happened 1000%. However, how can we morally tie degenerate sand human who should not be here, who has an opposite ideology to Dugan because Dugan made a YouTube video, right? He made a concoction in his garage with household chemicals that you can get literally anywhere. You can buy all this stuff basically online without any issue. There's also a separate allegation here from a goober in Odessa who they don't name who this person is, which this one sticks out to me because they're like, hey, on May 4th, 2026, an explosion occurred at a private residence in Odessa, Missouri. And then they searched this guy and he turns over information on Derek or Dugan, right? And saying, oh yeah, this guy online, he totally radicalized me and he totally told me how to, bomb my local federal building or something like that. I was heckin' about to do something bad. So you guys got to go get this guy now. And the fact that they're not naming him.
Holy shit.
I'm like, it's a little suspect, right? It's very suspect. Now, when we get into the other charges that are on here, so he's he's accused of manufacturing explosive materials without a license. I tried to get a specific answer out of Phoebe, the wife, today to see what exact sort of licensing he has. I believe he's an FFL 0702, but he may not, like, what sort of licensing he has, I'm not entirely sure of right now. I know some people said he had this license or he didn't have that license. That I'm not aware of the specific details as of right now. I did not get that information. Anyways, that's 10 years in prison. Unregistered destructive device. I don't know what that means. That could be anything. Like, for instance, if you have a towel and a lighter and a bottle of vodka next to each other, like, that's not a Molotov cocktail.
But it could be.
Constructive intent is the most nebulous, disgusting, unless you have like a literal manifesto and attack plans drawn up with red string everywhere. Constructive intent is purely like, I don't know, I felt like he might have done something bad. Like, for instance, if you have a 16-inch upper over there and a pistol lower over there, or actually the opposite. Okay, you have an 11-inch upper over there in the corner, and you have a rifle lower over there, and you get rated by the ATF. It's like constructive intent to build an SBR. Did he build an SBR? No, but he had constructive intent. And it's like, well, he had components to do the thing, so we're going to say that he did through constructive intent.
We
So
all
we have
have
literally
the
no
ability
idea what
to
an
do bad
unregistered destructive
things.
device is.
Shit's ridiculous. I mean, everybody has the ability to do something bad.
Well, show me the man and I'll show you the crime, good sir.
Yeah.
And then the last one was distributing information relating to the manufacture of explosives, which that one is insane to me. So that one's the biggest charge. 20 years in prison. I believe there are some restrictions on international trading of information. Like there's certain things you can't violate via ITAR or for national security or stuff like that. I think explosives in some context might be like a weird thing like that. So for instance, I think somebody explained this to me earlier that if like you have a Canadian come to America and shoot like a 60 round drum, technically that's part of it's some national security violation or some weird thing that you're like technically not supposed to do for some, again, that's like a very weird case of that. But here's the thing. I don't even like, again, if I make a YouTube video, like I'm in America, I'm an American, right? And somebody in Timbuktu uses that information for a negative purpose, is that on me or the platform for showing the video to somebody where they're not supposed to? Which is why, like, I feel like YouTube, it shouldn't it be on YouTube's shoulders if they're showing content that
They're the
should stay in
publisher.
America to other people, right? I mean, it seems strange to me because if I make it, like my audience is like 96% American, like 94% American, something like that. So they're going to tell me that I violated ITAR because like YouTube showed it to some Nicaraguan or something like that. I'm like, that seems...
On the YouTube backend, you can't choose what countries your content gets shown in, correct?
Yeah. Well, again, there's lots of very strange, very weird things like this. So late last night, after I got the news, one of the Discord mods from his Discord reached out to me and started to feed me all of this information. My friend, who you might know as Dugan Ashley from the OG GunTuber channel Carnicon, has been arrested by the feds on some BS charges for making videos about explosives. There's also other people on YouTube who there are videos you can look up right now on the platform that are similar in content to what Dugan used to do. And again, these videos just exist online on a plethora of platforms. Rumble, DLive, is DLive still around? Odyssey, some of these other places. These videos just exist online, and it seems like they're selecting him, one, because his rhetoric is a little more spicy, of course. He's very anti-Zionist, if you will. Not a big fan of the Zionists. Not at all. Anti-Moo, as some of you might say. So maybe making an example out of him makes sense from their perspective. But again, all of the information that he has, as far as I'm aware, is readily available online and even purchasable through major websites. Like you can just buy some of these cookbooks, so to speak, from certain retailers. So how is making a video of what's already in the book a crime?
Yeah.
Right? Is
A lot
it just
of
because
cases,
it's visual?
It's literally like scientific textbooks that like go through this.
Well, and again, it's just a mechanical process, right? It's just like a formula. Like imagine me showing you some sort of mathematical formula and being like, no, actually that is illegal information to pass out to people, even though it's just one of those things where it's like just an objective fact. It just is what it is, right? And they're trying to stop the freedom of information, stop what I would argue is just his First Amendment rights to just transfer information from one person to another. And again, it's the intent angle of it would be so difficult to prove unless Dugan has a manifesto saying, yes, I, Dugan Ashley, am going to blow up the federal building on March 17th, 2027, or something so specific like that. Then you could, maybe get him on something else. But just transfer of the information, again, seems ludicrous when you can readily access this information from a dozen different sources right now. right now if you wanted to. Now, other things we should talk about. So again, I had a conversation with the wife. They have a good family support structure there. There is a hearing tomorrow in Kansas City at 3:00 at the courthouse. I am going to be there. Jonathan Picone is going to be there. A bunch of other people are going to show up. As of right now, the hope is that he gets out on bond with conditions rather than having to, pay some exorbitant bail fee. That would be nice so that at least he can be out and about and spending some time with his family during the whole trial process. The goal of the donations, the goal of the GoFundMe is to fund a good legal defense. Okay. He currently, as of right this moment in time, just has the public defender, which, while, is better than nothing, only just. So what we want and kind of what we need as a community for one of our guys is to get the best defense possible. Because again, if we can set the precedent that no, the transfer of information is not illegal, this will pay dividends in the future. Yes, the feds have a very high conviction rating. That is technically true. However, I think that this is worth fighting. This is worth investing in because this is something that can absolutely be used against us in the future. Right now, think about this. Right now, this has to do with explosives. Right now, this has to do with things that aren't my particular field of expertise, right? In the very near future, this could be other information, right? This could be political information. This could be firearms information, okay? Just because it's in a field that not a lot of us in this chat are particularly interested in or it's useful to us at this point in time doesn't mean that this doesn't set very, very dangerous precedent going forward, which is why I personally am very invested in this. One, because Dugan is a good person. He's a father and a husband who does not deserve this to happen to him whatsoever. His children do not deserve to be stripped of access to their father at a very impressionable age because he has political opinions you don't like, because he talks about his hobby online that, again, you might think is a little scary, right? I don't think that his children or wife deserve to be deprived of him because he's a little uncomfortable and he has edgy takes online sometime. All right. So and again, from my perspective, there's a little bit of self-preservation in here as well, is because I could see this very, very, very easily happening to any one of us. Right. And so this is why this is important to come together for one of our own during one of their hard times, to step up, to do what we can. Right. And whether that's just pressing the share button on his post on X, whether that's financial support for some of you guys out there, whether that's calling a representative or somebody who might have some leeway, okay? Whatever you can do, all right? If you're not interested, if you don't care, I just ask you to think a little bit bigger than the current moment in time. All right. Right now, this doesn't affect you. Right now, this doesn't matter. Right now, it's not my problem. It's not my issue. I'm just going to, stay over here and hope this never affects me personally in any way, shape, or form. At some point, it will affect you. It will come to you. Okay. So it is better right now to use Dugan as your avatar than it is to try and fight it on your own. All right. So if we can affect change in this manner and a positive outcome for Dugan and his family, I guarantee you it will pay dividends in the future. Absolutely will. Okay? Because the strategy is the opposite of the strategy that I'm employing is, well, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect my family, therefore I don't care. That only works until your family's on the chopping block and then there's nobody left to help you out. And honestly, why should they, right? Because if you pass on your brothers and sisters when they're in their time of need, why should they help you? Why should they care about you? All right. You turned your backs on them. You should expect the same. All right. So it is time for us to band together. It's time for us to come together for one of our own. All right. The left, the ethnics, okay, they'll protect their own. They'll vote in their own interests. They'll do whatever it takes to see them win because they hate you. All right. It's time for us to win. It's time for us to come together. It's time for us to help one of our own through as legal means as possible to do what we can. Okay. And it's really simple. I'm not even asking for anything much.
Support
it's like
your boys, they support their boys.
Exactly. Support your own. It's really simple. I'm not even asking to, like, if you guys are in a poor financial situation, please don't donate to me. Please don't donate to them. All right. Just press, like, it's like 3 clicks. It's like a share button, it's like, send a text message to your state representative. It's like 4 seconds worth of work at minimum. It's very, very little. That's all. Also, prayers. Prayers will be great for them. Richard, your thoughts? You've been awful quiet.
Yeah, I seen this first thing this morning, and I was rather upset by it. I think it's bullshit that they're hitting him with the distribution of information charges, which is, as far as I'm aware, that's covered under the First Amendment. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a retard.
I mean, unless it's like explicitly for use in a terrorist act, like explicitly, like it's like giving somebody a grocery list. It's not. How could that possibly not be a First Amendment right?
Yeah. I don't like any of this, and to see it coming from the most pro 2A administration, it just seems right on par.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Honestly, I didn't expect any less, but it's still incredibly disappointing to see.
And again, they're targeting this man, right? Funny man who does edgy things online, because somebody else that they let in on purpose, Shamshud Din Jabbar, downloaded one of his videos. Like,
we're not 2
sorry,
hours
white
in.
Man.
I can't say what I want to say.
Sorry, white man. You are responsible because we let in monster number 61,804 into the country, and he did something bad again. Sorry, white man. Can't be talking about that thing because evil monster number 7,841 did something bad again. We got to take, it's the same thing with gun rights, right? It's like, oh, there was another heckin' mass violence by some evil monster. We're going to have to take your rights away, white man. I'm so sorry, white man. That guy we just let in, he did a heckin' Holocaust on us, and we're going to have to take your rights away. I'm so sorry. I got to do it again. Oh, I got to protect myself. Anyways. Now, again, tomorrow I am planning on going down there. It's about 6 hours for me to get down there to the courthouse at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If anyone else is interested in going, it is public. So if you want to go down there and support Dugan and his family, Kansas City Courthouse, I'll probably have all of the information later tonight on exactly where it is, what courtroom. I'll be down there. Jonathan Picone will be down there. His family will be down there, and a few other people just going down there to support them in their time of need. And again, it's not just about financials, okay? Financial is obviously nice to have because lawyers are expensive and everything costs money. The family does have a good support structure. They have good in-laws and people around, so they're like taken care of in terms of all of their physical needs and stuff like that. It really is just obviously not having their father around and the court fees, right? The legal fees, okay? That's going to be the expensive part. That's where all that money is going towards. As far as everything else, like just get the word out a little bit, okay? Couple of shares, couple of clicks, couple of retweets. That's it, right? Pretty simple. If you have any social media presence at all, just a couple of clicks goes a long ways, right?
The money's going to be a huge help, but I think just showing up for them and them seeing just how much he is loved is going to be a big help for them. Big morale boost.
Mm-hmm. And again, I see people like saying, I get the economy sucks. Like, again, donations are like secondary. I guarantee you, all right, people are going to come through in a big way for Dugan. If you personally can't donate, like, do not feel bad in any way, shape, or form. Just do a couple clicks, okay? I mean, I think a retweet is actually 1 click. So I mean, just a couple of things out there, a couple of shares will help the story go a long ways to reach the right people, okay? So everybody just does their part, okay? It's like that movie, okay? Which one is it? Just escaped my mind. The one with the bugs that everybody sides with the bugs on because they're retarded. Which one is it? The one, not Avatar. Funny, yes. Kill all bliggers or something like that. But it's the other one. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my part. Why did that movie just?
Oh wait, I'm doing. Oh.
Starship Troopers,
Starship
thank you.
Troopers.
Yes, okay. Everyone does their part. Some of you guys got the money to be financial, sweet. Some of you got the time to pray, fantastic. Some of you got the social media reach and influence to talk to somebody that you know, to retweet, to share, to boost here and there, fantastic. Okay, we all got to do our part, and our part is different. Okay, so if you can't be the financial guy, perfect. Heck yeah, just do the thing that you can do. Focus on what you can do, and that's it. All right.
Yeah, first thing.
And
this
also,
morning,
I mean, I'll drop the court listener here. Again, the hope, the goal is that Dugan is able to be out on bond with conditions during the trial, so that he will have the ability to help raise support and fight through whatever it might be. Right? I mean, I would guess maybe drop a couple albums, maybe make some T-shirts, maybe some other things like that, so that people can actually get behind it in a physical way as well.
Yeah, diss track, celebrity boxing.
Yes, there. Maybe not celebrity boxing, although that could be funny. You never know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get to your support, which again, you shouldn't be donating here. You should not be donating here. You should be going over to, let me drop it once again in the chat, to the Give Send Go, which again, yeah, stop donating here. Go to the Give Send Go, drop the cash there, okay? But even so, I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I will get to all of your support tonight as well. And then we got Rage Bait. Even more Rage Bait to get to. Even more rage-inducing than perhaps this story. Well, actually, I think it's a really good segue. Dugan is a perfect segue into Rage Bait, because look at what they'll do to a family man who makes educational content on a spicy topic on YouTube, right? Still somehow allowed to even operate on YouTube. Like, YouTube didn't even ban him, but the feds will. And then look at what they'll allow the animals to get away with. All right. While they show up with $1 million of hardware to kill you and your family, they'll just allow the animals to do what they want.
Isn't Dugan a disabled veteran?
I mean, I'm not sure if he's like, technically 100% disabled or whatnot, but I mean, there were definitely things that happened during his time in the military. Yes. All right, so there's a bunch of new members over on Ko-Fi. We got Nicholas Doosan, YOLO Bacon Bucks, Drain Pipe, Fresh Pinochet, Helix, and the last Bean for 5 says, I have an AR-10 I'm building from the ground up. Please point me in the right direction for a mid-tier reliable build. Thanks, Christ is Lord. Also, Sola Scriptura. Well, Sola Scriptura was not the way the church operated in the first 4 centuries. So I know the appeal to it. I know that it's simpler, so people like to go to it. But even as somebody with a Protestant background, I have lost faith in Sola Scriptura as a useful means of interpretation. But that's okay. Thank you, the last bean. I do appreciate it. As far as what's a good mid-tier AR-10, it's rough pickings out there because Arrow died. So find a DPMS upper and maybe Midwest parts. Maybe there's still some Ballistic Advantage 308 barrels floating around.
Something used from your local pawn shop, if you could.
Yeah, actually, that is true. Actually, if you can find like a mid 2010s like DPMS or something like that in your local pawn shop for like $800, that's probably the best way to go, is to look around to your local gun stores and pawn shops and see if they have some of the older AR-10s still floating around, and use that as the building block. I think so. All right, let's see. Over on Rumble, I think we got one in here. McLeod for 5 says, got to shoot it suppressed earlier this year. The 300 blackout subs work fine. Don't think it can achieve 50 state compliance due to the detachable magazine. Also, you need a tripod. It's heavy. Too much money for it. Well, so you actually got to shoot one of these bad boys, one of the Bar Nones. That's interesting. Now, as far as it being heavy, I would imagine, because it looks like they just didn't machine anything out of the upper receiver or handguard. They just left it all in there, which is fine. They're trying to save money. And again, as a precision rifle, keep in mind that like a PRS gun is somewhere between like 14 and 20 pounds.
Well, a 20-inch 300 blackout barrel is going to be heavy as fuck.
Well, and a 24-inch 308's also got to be a chonky boy too, So
I don't expect it to be light, guys.
No. Well, that's not the application. It's a sub-MOA precision rifle on a budget, basically, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this on a bag and plank it however far.
Exactly. Yes. Oh, Jarrett for 2 says, can't watch tonight, but prayers for Dugan. Christ is king and God is good no matter what happens to us in this life. Yes. And it is time for us to come together, help one of our brothers, pray for him, be there for the family, and do what we can. Whatever that might be, do what you can. Amorite Boy for 2 says, donate to Dugan and remember, yes, they would. And that is the thing, right? Today it is Dugan, and tomorrow it will be somebody else. And at some point, you can kick that can down the road until your normie ideology that you think is normie, eventually you're the extremist, and then they'll come after you next.
I'm
That's
sure
just
a
the way
lot
it
of
goes. So
people in chat have pretty spicy opinions similar to Dugan. Maybe not exactly, but in the same vein. And they will come after you eventually.
Yeah. And we have some absolute chads in the in that donation link. I know that one of them, Thug, personally donated $2,000. Why 2,000 was because that was the limit that Give Send Go could handle. Otherwise, he would have done more. So he is a absolute mega chad for doing that. Thank you, Thug. Amrite Boy for 2 says, donate to Dugan and remember, yes, they would. Thank you. Nate Teller for 5 says, got caught making videos on how to make explosives. Sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook. Well, I don't understand the mechanical difference between a video on explosives and a book on explosives. Why can I buy the book, read the book, show the book, but I can't do the same thing in a video format? Like, what makes this illegal and this not illegal?
There's no actual difference. We all know it.
Well, what is it, because NWAs can't read?
You beat
And
me
so
to
we're
it.
gatekeeping it by putting it in a book. You know, okay, maybe that should be written into law. Okay, NWAs can't read. Okay, got to be book format to gatekeep the NWAs. Maybe that's what it is. Thank you, $8. Waifu's Enslaved, Jimmy's and Russell for 5. I saw you on the NAV show yesterday, I want to say. Feds get free unguided tour of the biomass reactor. True. We need more brown biomass. Richard still needs to pay his breeding pit tab. I don't know if I should say this. Let's just say that the FBI agents that they sent to get Dugan were the best, okay? Not a lot of ethnics around. Not a lot of diversity for that raid. Lightspore, member for 7 months, says, these intro clips aren't my proudest bust. I won't lie. Yeah, Girls Frontline 2 transferred into Black Ops 4, I think. Strange vibes. Strange vibes. Lightspore for another 2 says, less annoying Bucky is here.
That's the highest praise I've gotten all night.
That's technically a compliment. Mitchell Black for 2 says, justice for Chud. Yes. Well, justice for Chud is just him not getting charged with self-defense, right? That's the goal. That would help everybody if he does not get charged with self-defense. Because if he does get charged, now we also have to worry about him getting convicted. Because if he gets convicted for saying naughty words and defending yourself, now saying naughty words is a crime, essentially, right? If you say naughty words, you can't defend yourself anymore. So that is another very important case. Thank you, Mitchell Black. Appreciate you, sir. Lightsport for 2 says, Chud's working on TND, boys. It's not TND, though. It's
rage baiting.
It's rage baiting Nappas, and it's surprise. It makes good content. Okay, it's funny. I get it, but it's like, is he actually helping the cause, or is he just kind of entertainment distraction for like low IQ chuddery? Which again, if that's your beef, that's what you want. Okay, whatever. But again, just understand that comes with downsides. Thank you, Lightsport. Appreciate that. Mitchell Black for 5 says, if only his name was Chud Mellow Chudthony. Very true. Isn't that insane? The difference that these people are being treated with? That's crazy. Almost like the black community doesn't care about justice. They just care about protecting their own. Thank you, Mitchell Black. Like, I mean, this happened like 40 years ago with OJ. The black jury member comes out and says, yeah, we just wanted to pay white people back for slavery, so we're not going to convict them. Yeah. They don't care about justice. They're, in the words of a wise poet, they not like us. Lightspore for 5 says, we literally had an NWA try to gouge out the eyes of one of our officers last week. Hands can 100% be deadly force. Yes, well, that's why if somebody punches you in the face, you are usually allowed to respond with deadly force. Yes, they are not allowed to kill you. They're not allowed to beat you into the ground. Again, hands and fists kill more people every year than rifles do. Thank you, Lightspore. Mitchell Black for 2 says, he's just sitting there menacingly. Well, I think in a just world, if you sucker punch anyone, no matter what they said, like, you should just go into the evisceration chamber. Okay, you just need to go into the biomass reactor. Like, that should just be where you go. If you have that low impulse control where you know, you're sucker punching somebody because they said something meany weeny to you, biomass chamber. You go to the biomass chamber. Stay in there. Well, you're not coming out. Come on. You're going to be part of the biomass. Thank you, Mitchell. Ronnie D for 2 says, let cops know that. Yeah, do not let cops know anything. In fact, just say, I was afraid for my life. That was crazy. I was afraid for my life. That guy tried to kill me.
To my attorney.
I want to speak to my
attorney.
attorney.
Name. I feared for my life. Attorney.
Yeah,
please.
exactly. What you should do is the only thing you should say is, I acted in fear of my life. I acted in fear of my life. I feared grave bodily injury or death of myself or somebody around me. You know, like just generic legalese like that. That's it. And where's my lawyer? I would like to speak to a lawyer.
Rape. I feared rape. He was going to rape me.
He was going to rape me. Thank you, Ronnie D. I appreciate that. C Runner for 2 says, Napa know-how. Yes, thank you, C Runner. Ronnie D for 2 says, nothing more fragile than a cop's ego. Yes, I think that is true to an extent, but there is one ego more fragile than a cop's. And again, I know that cops get a bad rap because they do a lot of bad things, right? there is just a lot of bad apples out there. But also, yeah, I mean, there's a deserved reputation there. Thank you, Ronnie D. C Runner for 2 says, nothing more cop than a fragile ego. It's another way of saying the same thing. Thank you, C Runner. Appreciate that. C Runner for 2 says, charged with animal cruelty for shooting a monkey. You hate to see it. Well, listen, it's not my fault they let him out of the zoo, okay? I had to do what needed to be done. Thank you, C Runner. Castigar for 2 says, nicest red dots for $500 American dollars. Sig Romeo 8T for sure, at that $450 price. Other than that, you can get like I love how people always go to aim points as if they're not Swiss. Like, they aren't American, bro. Like, you're not supporting American businesses. You're buying Swiss, you know? $500. I mean, honestly, I think the Ames Pro is really good for that money and way under 500. You might be able to get an aim point duty, but it's kind of mediocre for that money. Probably a used no, probably not even a Comp M4. Under $500. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of limited. Hollison has some good dots. Sig Romeo 4Ts, any of the variants there. There's some good options for under 500. Yeah,
be patient and shop deals if you're running at that budget.
Yeah. Well, and if you're really trying to buy American, like, you really only have or used EOTech. Thank you, Ballistic Aviation. Yes, used EOTechs are often well under $500. Well under $500. So, thank you, Cassigar. Mitchell Black for 5 says, Your Honor, might I point out the defense was indeed chimping out. I rest my case. Yes, I mean, I would think he was categorically chimping out. Mitchell Black for 5 says the outcome of the Carmelo Anthony trial could also set precedent in favor of Chud if they find him not guilty for murdering Austin Metcalf. Completely, I understand what you mean there, but very different circumstances, right? That was a chimp out revolved to like somebody sitting in the wrong seat, and I felt disrespected. You can't disrespect my name, so I'm a kill you.
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna waste all the money on something.
Please don't sit in the wrong section. I'm gonna literally stab you in the heart.
Yeah, well, I think wasn't it Carmelo that was sitting in the wrong section, and then Austin was like asking him to move, and then just don't interact with these people. These people are awful monsters, animals. Like, if you're bringing a knife to murder somebody for disrespecting you at a football game, like, you should just go. You're also going in the biomass chamber. All right.
It would be irresponsible for me to live around them.
Todd and Dogs for 2 says wearing a suit on a gurney is top tier trolling. I think that is correct. Okay, there is still some. Where's a good image of it? It's got to be around here somewhere. Shoot, where did it go? Oh wait, no, here it is. I found it. Okay, he is still mogging a little bit right here. He's trying to maintain his aura. Okay, thank you, Todd and Dogs. The Light Sport for 2 says, is the Italian dude hung? I don't know if Ricardo is hung, but I would imagine so. But I'm just no homo. Mitchell Black for 2 says, why is there gun content in my political stream? It is a weird amalgamation of content that I do here, isn't it? Thank you, Mitchell Black.
I think the
Mitchell Black
a reference to Mussolini.
Mitchell Black for 2 says, is a kilogram of titanium heavier than a kilogram of feathers? How could they be the same weight? Titanium's way heavier than feathers. So much heavier than feathers. I mean, come on, a kilogram of titanium's got to weigh way more than feathers.
Yo, man, birds fly. They got feathers. I never seen a titanium fly.
It's true. All right, Zany for 2 says, Richard, do you like the sound of my voice?
I have not gotten a chance to listen to it yet. He sent me a voice message.
Aw. Well, be ready for a high-pitched squeal. It was really crazy when he turned on the
voice. I was like, really? This is what you sound like? Like, okay, fair enough. I always thought you were a man, but it turns out no.
Bojangles for 5 says, did we enter the twilight zone of firearms? Yes, the twilight zone is whatever Marky Mark comes up with. Okay, the same man that made the C note and tried to convince you that it was a usable product also came out with the Bar None. Thank you, Bojangles. Mitchell Black for 5 says, so what you're saying is we need to buy this rifle in order to storm the jail they're holding Dugan in. Officer, I did not say that. That was a super chat. Okay, dude, imagine me having to explain my super chat history and the things I read out in a live chat to a judge at some point. You know, it's going to be some archaic 80-year-old, hopefully white male, and he's going to be like, so, Sonny, what is this in the transcript when you said TND and TKD 1,000 times? What do those mean, young man? And I'll be like, listen, officer, you see, I am morally obligated to read out what my audience sends me in super chats. Super chats are where you're streaming and people send in money to have me read funny things. Therefore, I am an entertainer and a clown, or perhaps an actor, if you will. Okay, like an actor reads lines. I also read lines and get paid to do it. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, so it's not me saying this. It's my audience. Yeah, big toe money would also be funny to explain. That's a good point, Carver. So that's funny. Yes. So I'm explaining BTM and I'm like, so when they send in $20, I show this guy's toes on screen and he's like, so is this some sort of prostitution ring, young man? Is this some sort of prostitution and you're showing this man's toes for money online?
Yes.
Zany for 2 says LaRue rails in 2010s were the bee's knees. I still think they're good, dude. I still think they might be some of the best rails out there. Thank you, Zany Co. Appreciate that, sir. Mitchell Black for 5 says, whoever asked if it comes with Dillo dust has elite ball knowledge. Well, Dillo dust, they used to send that out with like every order, right? Or at least like during certain times of the year. Because at one point, I had 3 of the Geisley spices, which I actually thought were pretty good. Thank you, Mitchell Black. Mitt Rhombus for 5 says, it's like they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. By the way, thank you for the files, though you forgot the English version of Big Jake Money. If you can fix, please. Yeah, I think I have that around. I think I just sent you the wrong version or forgot to attach it. So just bug me again on Instagram if I don't respond, because again, there's like 100 people that message me on Instagram. So if I see the message and don't respond, you have to message me again so that I have the notification and can go take care of that. Thank you, Mitt Rhombus. Mitchell Black for 2 says the CLXT series. Yes, talking about primary arms daughters, the new dots that comes out. You guys excited about the new dots? Mitchell Black for 2 says, John, I told you about my micro and confidence, bro. WTF. Listen, man, you are built like a Greek god, okay? Never tell them which part of you, though. Thank you, Mitchell. All right, let me get rid of these. Zanico for 2 says, think it will make YouTube become stricter on GunTube? No, because firearms and I was reading the chat. Firearms and explosions are very different, in terms of like how they're viewed. Like me showing, like you still can't show like putting a gun together on YouTube. You can show putting explosives together sometimes though on YouTube. So it's very gray. I can shoot guns on YouTube. You can blow stuff up on YouTube. Tannerite's legal, and like you can blow up stuff with certain types of explosives. Like there's a whole genre of content on YouTube that is just blowing stuff up.
They will ban you for fireworks too, which is another interesting part of the whole.
But creation of them is so there's a lot of gray, muddy area in both segments, but I don't think that this specific case will spark a change in YouTube, because I think YouTube is like 78% AI at this point. There's so much content on YouTube that is not moderated by a human or by an Indian, which, yes, I am separating those as 2 different categories. Thank you, Zanico. Appreciate that. Rad's Arms for 5 says, so the big question is, did he have destructive devices or are they trying to get him for constructive possession? If so, he will walk on it all. Well, I genuinely hope they are going out on so far of a limb to stretch together these cases or these issues that it does get thrown out or some of the charges don't stick. Because realistically, feds do have a very high conviction rate. They do. Okay. So being a realist, they do have a very high conviction rate. But if we can get them off, poor phrasing, on a lot of the charges or get them reduced or changed or some sort of, alternative worked out, that might be the true realistic best case scenario. Let me drop this link again in chat for all of you guys. Thank you, Rad's Arms. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. It's getting kind of late and I got to get up about 4 a.m. So,
well, have a good night, Richard. Appreciate you hanging out, sir. I hope you get the issues fixed with your vehicle.
Well, I got the fuse fixed, so at least now I have lights in the morning.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Good night, guys.
Good luck, man.
Night.
Stay safe out there. Axagrind for 10 says, instead of buying another piece, send the money to Dugan. This is so much more important. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for covering this, John. Of course. We should remember those that turn a blind eye. I agree with you in Axagrind. I am hand in hand with you on this one, okay? The people that say, not my fight. I don't care about this. Screw that guy. I saw some people like pointing and laughing like, oh, you can't talk about explosives. Ha ha ha. The feds got him, lol. And those people, well,
They could suck it from the back.
Well, that's not exactly what I want them to do, but maybe start a shotgun. Okay, we're gonna pull a pro Cobainer move here. Sheep Herder for 5 says, I saw the post you dropped yesterday about this Dugan situation. Went ahead and threw 20 big toe monies at the guy. Perfect. Thank you very much, Sheep Herder. Free Dugan. Yeah, free my boy. Didn't do nothing. Although in this case, actually didn't do anything. Dick Cheney's Heart for 5 says, I've seen Eric Weinstein talk about quote unquote restricted information in physics and how he thinks it's a violation of the First Amendment. So I understand that you have to have some things kept secret for like national security. For instance, if I had access to like the oh no, so how is F-35 crime rate? I'm so interested in you. Your story is so amazing, right? If I was passing out like restricted intel on like fighter jets or space programs or our weapons capabilities, right? I understand that for purposes of national security, we need to keep those things contained. Okay. Whether that's nuclear energy, whether that's, military, whatever that might be. There are certain things that we, for national security purposes, do put a limit on the First Amendment, right? That kind of checks out. That makes sense. We can square that. We can rationalize that. We can put that away in the corner of our minds. A random dude uploading YouTube videos showing you just generic compounds that exist that you can go buy right now, that you can go look up in a book that you can purchase from a major retailer, completely separate category. Like, it's not the same planet of content. Thank you, Dick Cheney's Heart. I appreciate that. Amrai Boy for 2 says half the recipes are on. Like, what are we suing Amazon servers for hosting this stuff? Are we are we arresting, the Pajit CEO of YouTube for hosting this information? Right? Is he not liable for any of this stuff? Like, what is going on here? If they allow it on their platform, like if I sell a book on eBay, are they going to come after me even though you can just buy it from a major retailer? What is going on here? Thank you, Emrai Boy. Mr. 9x19 for 10 says, donated to Dugan already, but here's a few bucks for a gallon of gas to help you get down to Kansas City. Safe travels, Christ is King. Well, that is funny. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, it's about 11 hours of driving and gas just went up again locally. I'm like, that's like 2 tanks. Probably pretty close to 2 tanks. You know what? It's worth it though, okay? Because I'm supporting the homies. You guys are supporting the homies. We're all doing what we can do. Not everybody can go down there and drive on a Thursday afternoon to show up. I get it, right? Some of you guys can donate to the cause. Some of you guys can press a retweet. Some of you guys can pray. Do what you can do. That's what's important. Do what you can do. I tell this to my wife all the time. The only thing you're not allowed to do is nothing. That's it. Okay. Like when my wife is like helping me with like a hard physical task or something like that, right? Where we're moving boxes from one place to the other. Can she do as much as me? Absolutely not. You know, she's 5'2" and 110 pounds, right? It's like she can't do what I can do. But if you move like 5 boxes, you've helped me immeasurably. Okay. So just do what you can do. That's it. The only thing you can't do is nothing. Ronnie D for 2. Same thing with my son. Like my son's 5 years old. We're out at the range cleaning up. Can he move walls? No. Can he move the big boxes and the other things that need to be moved from place to place? No. But he can do something. So the only thing you can't do is nothing. Ronnie D for another 2 says, have you seen the clips about the New Zealand DEI captain? I don't think I have, but I listen, we're 2 hours into the show and I've got a full set of rage bait for all of you guys. So I have more than enough for today. But thank you, Ronnie D. I appreciate that. You can send it my way. I'll take a look at it for sure. All right. Yes, actually, I'll shout this out. I was supposed to have JP on at some point, but he's making some cool leather magazine pouches that are kind of drippy, and I think he'll be there tomorrow. So I should be seeing him in person. So yeah, should be a good time. Probably get him back on the show at some point in the future as well. Let me go ahead and we're going to move into Rage Bait, kind of. Actually, maybe I'll skip this one. This is just Sig being Sig and retards being retards, which we've known this from the beginning.
So at the start of their shift, the gun operator removed their weapon, placing the barrel into a clearing barrel. That employee inspected the gun, inserted a loaded magazine, and released the slide chambering around. The employee then tried to holster the weapon twice, and then on the third attempt, the weapon fired. The report shows a round went through the bottom of the holster into the top of the employee's cargo pocket, struck their wallet, and hit the floor. So I reached out to Letterkenny asking whether any changes were made to safety protocols after this 2021 incident. They did not answer that specific question, just saying it's under investigation. But just to be clear, we are not linking that 2020.
So this is one that I had just never heard of before. So apparently this, police department dude in 2021 had his 320 and they were attempting to get it to go off, and they managed to, holstering and reholstering it 3 times, which seems like if you're trying to get a Sig to go off, I would not be putting. Well, it's like, okay, I get the idea, the intent, but I wouldn't be putting it into a holster that I'm currently wearing. Like, no. Absolutely not. If I'm trying to get the gun to go off and see what's happening with it, I'm putting it on a holster, on a table, like pointed well away from myself and anybody else, into a backstop, a berm or something like that. And maybe I'll try and get it to go off that way. But yeah, not something I'm wearing. That seems stupid. Absolutely insane. Or yeah, like a blank. Yeah, exactly. Karantham. Just pull a bullet and just, pop a primer in there. And again, this is back in 2021, which is interesting why I never heard this one. Now, in the rest of this, which I don't think we're going to play, they're going to try and connect it with, which I actually totally agree with this professor guy. This young gentleman died during a training exercise with an M17, and his parents had known about the gun beforehand, and they'd actually warned their son, like, oh, the M17 and M18, it's not safe. The boomer parents were warning their son going into the military that this gun was not designed properly. And tragic, the gentleman dies in his first training exercise with the gun. Although, again, it's like the military standards are so low that I can't blame the 320 for it, because, NWAs just be pointing guns and shit, right?
Is this thing loaded?
Or like joking, I think it's unloaded, and pointing it at somebody else's chest, and it's like, well, damn, you hope so, huh, boy?
To look for.
They might be looking for debris. They might check the amount of play between the slide and the frame. They would be checking that all the safety components are there.
He's a licensed pistol and range officer, served in the Marine Corps, and was an...
Dude, I do have to say, like, he is absolutely mogging everybody else in this interview. Okay, this is the last thing a POW sees before he gets, tortured in Guantanamo Bay or something like that. I mean, just look at this guy. Oh, geez.
Army Field Artillery Officer, as well as a Tactical and Strategic Intelligence Officer.
This, by comparison, is the slide of a 6-hour P320.
Harrison believes the M17's internal safety design is weaker than other handgun systems.
I believe, in my opinion, the striker safety lock of the 6-hour P320 or M17 or the military variants. It's this thin metal piece. It's
Preach.
grossly.
This is what I'm saying, okay? The P320, while it's difficult to recreate these issues, it's just a bad design. It's just a poorly designed gun. It should not be this way. Should not be that way.
Inferior to the striker safety block plunger of a Glock or even the Sig Sauer P365.
True. Okay, listen. The Glock safety plunger is so simple, and it's such a brilliant solution to the problem because it's a solid chunk of steel with a tiny little spring that just assists it a little bit, right? Because it's gravity fed. It just sits in the lower position until it gets pressed out of the way by the trigger bar, okay? And it is a solid chunk of steel. And it sits there. It has a little bit of a spring to keep it down. You know, you don't need much because it's gravity fed basically. It's just a beautiful, simple, iconic system, and it just works so well. The Sig P320 with the striker safety sear thingamajig and the horrible like connection between the two and the material and design changes over the last decade. It's just like, it's such an inferior system. And he'll go into it like the tiny little tab of bent metal between you and a blown off dick. Not very much.
He said the gun going off by itself is rare. Harrison believes the Army made a mistake in choosing the M17 because of its design.
This thing that I'm holding,
there it is
the only safety in the M17.
Based in California, Harrison walked us through the M17's design.
I love how they Photoshop his video onto the monitor. Right? Because that's not actually his video feed. His video feed was saved and then photoshopped onto the monitor so that it could
over a video call.
That spring in the M17.
Yeah. So that is the striker safety spring right there. That is what's blocking your striker from going forward. And it has a tiny, right here, microscopic, horrifying spring that hopefully does its job in holding it in the correct position.
It's what actuates this striker safety lock into the safe position. You see that little part that sticks up?
And yes, that's it. The only thing stopping your striker from going forward, should there be any sort of sear slippage or anything else like that, which again, you can just look at the photos of the sears like rounding over or falling apart or shredding, is that tiny little bent piece of metal versus, again, a solid block of steel in the Glock striker safety plunger. It's such an inferior mechanical design. It's so much more complicated than the Glock safety that it's like ridiculous that they both perform the same job. It's a tiny piece of bent metal. And again, would I be shocked if that tiny piece of already bent metal just bends again? No.
That's the only portion that actually interferes with the striker.
In January of 2017, Sig Sauer won a 10-year, $580 million contract with.
I mean, that's really the new information, is I hadn't heard that first shooting and just that absolute unit of a person.
So I guess.
Sorry, where is he? Show me the Chad face. There we go, Chad face right there. The last thing a P320 sees before it gets thrown in the garbage, right there. Talking about why it's actually bad, why the design is defective. Now, you probably saw this story the other day, Dank, but did you see was it Frontier or which one was it? Okay, I forget the plane that ate someone, essentially. So this has been ruled a suicide, I think. The guy climbed the fences, cut through the fences at the Denver airport while a plane was taking off, and his plan was just to die and maybe to take as many people with him when you think about it, because once you get past whether it's V1 or V2, where you no longer can stop the plane, you have to take off. Like if he had been like a few hundred yards further down the runway, like he very easily could have killed everyone aboard the plane, because they would have catastrophically lost power in one engine as they're trying to take off. And it could have very easily been another one of those UPS scenarios, right? Where we had that UPS plane go down a couple months ago.
They also didn't notice him for, I forget the time frame, but like 5 minutes. He basically just walked onto one of the most populated airports in the entire world, and nobody really noticed. And then he jumped in front of a plane when it was at takeoff speeds of like 160.
Well, again, it was very lucky that they were not at the, whether it's V1 or V2, where they have to take off. They were actually able to stop the plane on the ground rather than attempt to take off and, not run out of runway, basically. So they did release the video, and you can see him on the thermal imaging here, walking across as this, 80-ton or 80, however heavy one of these planes is barreling towards them at 100 miles an hour. And he does just get completely eaten, like there is nothing left of him whatsoever. He does not exist anymore as a person.
And it's gone.
Yep. And again, like suicide is one thing, where it's like you've given up on life, you feel that there's nothing left for you. There, you don't provide any value to anyone, so you're going to take your life. It's V2, thank you. But it's another thing to attempt to kill 200 other people on a passenger airplane. Like, you're so self-centered that you want to make your suicide national, international news, basically. And the only way to do that is to take as many people with you as possible. And again, incredibly lucky that he was just not far enough down the runway, basically. The plane was able to come to a safe stop. Everybody was able to get off. They have footage from the inside of one of the ladies, I think, filming the engine as it essentially eats the person, right? Which is, I mean, I've only ever seen that in, like, I think Lost or a couple of other films where somebody gets eaten by an airplane engine. But yeah, no, you do just disappear. You're just no longer there. Those blades eat you, and then you demolish them in turn. And it is a very good thing, though, that everybody made it off.
Yeah, we've all played that one GTA 5 mission where we're going to get the last remaining reel of the movie. Dude gets or chick gets sucked into the engine, just eviscerated.
Blender side, that is funny. Okay, V1 is decision. I know we have a couple aviation nerds in the chat that actually like fly. V1 is decision speed. Okay, V2 is when you can fly with one engine. Okay, right.
Oh no, I don't have plane autism.
No, I didn't get that one. As a kid, I watched a lot of that content, but not so much anymore. Well, here we go. Here, maybe these are perhaps more pertinent, more important things for the feds to be looking into rather than arresting, a father and a husband who has, a different flavor of autism. Okay, explosives autism. But here's a young man who murdered his own parents because they were trying to interfere with his genital mutilation surgery. Mia Bailey, born as Colin Troy Bailey, biological male, shot both of his parents in the head. Probably didn't hear about this one, I'm guessing.
You want to know the specifics, so yeah.
Is that hormone replacement
therapy?
So being 28 years old now, at what age did you know that you wanted to transition?
I mean, since I was born, but the earliest I can remember is 2.
Did you have to?
I'm going to press X to doubt on that. Does anyone in chat, people are saying hop in chat. Does anyone remember anything at 2 years old?
I have one memory of me at 2 years old playing with a little blue toy truck. That's it.
Really? Maybe I'm retarded. Maybe I'm off, but the first memory I have is of my 4th birthday. Like, that's as early back as my memory goes.
I thought I was a cowboy when I was like 4.
Yeah.
Like, just because you think you are something doesn't mean you are that thing. No, you're mentally ill and brain broken.
Well, yeah, it's like I watched Air Bud at 6 years old and was like, oh, look how cool that dog is. I want to be a dog. It's like, you're 6 years old. You don't know anything. You're retarded. All right. You think you're Superman at 6 years old because you watched a superhero movie or something like that. It's just absolutely like post hoc rationalization and a total brain reconstruction of what your childhood was actually like. I always knew I was a girl, always, even from 2 years old. I just don't believe that. No, thanks.
Did your parents know prior to that?
My parents knew. My mom knew for 3 years, since 2019.
Okay.
July.
Was that a big topic of contention between you and her?
It wasn't a huge topic, but she was more like, how can I put it? Not very supportive. She was in shock, just didn't say anything. And then she's never supportive since. And she kept calling me my nickname and a bunch of other stuff. So
Mia says she was scheduled to have her long-awaited gender reassignment surgery the following month in July.
So they have a payment plan, and I had insurance. So they paid me about half of it at least. And I was going to do like a payment plan. And my dad was going to help me with a little bit of it. So.
According to Mia, her surgery was all set to go until her mother put a halt to it.
What led up to it was, well, got a call from my social worker from the hospital.
28 years old, still on your parents' health care? How would they even have a say in it if they were not paying for it? And then they eventually work up the nerve through this process to say, you know what? We don't think this is good for you. Now, like, if I were to use a V1, V2 explanation of this, the parents allowed this to go too far, okay? They were past the V1. They were past the decision point. They must have taken off. And then they attempted to stop at V2 and did not turn out well. All right. They made a way past the decision point to try and put a stop on this. And it did, in fact, crash and burn in a very destructive way.
And like apparently kind of broken HIPAA in a way. They shared the details at the hospital, but the worst one of all was my mother contacting them to say no to the surgery. And well.
So your mother contacted the hospital?
Yep. And so I knew I could probably appeal it with just if that, but she wouldn't. To say I was very furious, and I asked her, like, I don't want to hear excuses. I want to hear an explanation, and I'm sorry, and I'll do something about it.
Good.
Anyway,
does it ever get tiring though? Because you know that's not its real voice. You know that he's pretending. Like the whole thing is a farce. It's like,
guys.
It's funny when a tranny gets angry, it just immediately comes out, okay? That male pattern aggression, it just always comes out, right? No matter what, it's still in there. No matter what you do, no matter what you cover yourself with, I know what you are.
Yeah, they all have the gay accent. It's
yes,
an invented
the vocal
feminine
fry
accent to, I don't know.
Now, here's somebody with perhaps some spicy rhetoric online, and I just want to ask real fast, okay? Without any foreknowledge, you look at this wonderful historian YouTuber here, calling for the deaths of certain individuals. What race do you think he is? Let's check your nose radar, so to speak.
Oy vey.
Yeah, gay, gay, or yeah. Anyways, what does this guy think? What does this guy think about white people? I'm just curious.
I'd
Maybe
say-
this sort of spicy rhetoric. Maybe this sort of spicy rhetoric should be looked into by the I'm just saying. I don't know.
Gay inbred Jew.
Well, inbred and Jew kind of go hand in hand because don't Jews have the highest rate of inbreeding outside of like Pakistanis or something like that, where Pakistanis are like 60%, and I think like Orthodox Jews are like 40% or something like that.
Pakistanis are like 70%.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad.
It's more often than not.
It's worse than a coin flip. That's bad.
As soon as we landed, I would use the money to bribe the bosun to look the other way while I stole all of the muskets and powder on board. And then depending on when in the century I was landing, I would march my ass immediately to the nearest indigenous settlement, give the guns out like candy, and make it my mission in life to murder every single white man, woman, and child on the eastern seaboard of the continent. And then
Now, I do like that he can't get past the stereotypes ever. The first thing he would do is take money and bribe somebody. And then you would take that money and you would sell out the people you were with for money, and then you would work with the opposition to sell them out and give them money. Like, that's crazy. Like, arming your enemies to take out these people in some sort of terroristic fashion. Where have we seen that before?
First of all, I'd get in the upper echelons of the U.S. government and start infiltrating the education system. It's like, I see where this is going.
He can't do that yet because white people haven't set up, in this context here, haven't set up the education system for him to infiltrate yet. Okay, so right now he's going straight to the guns. Okay, you know, they might have opened the gates of Toledo. They might have sold guns to the natives. Whatever. It just, the story is like the same variation. It just keeps going and going and going. It's like, yeah. We've heard this one before. Anyways, Andrew Rakich, Atuna Films, some history channel, calling for genocide of white children, saying he would gladly take part in it. And again, just it never fails. Anytime you see some white presenting person call it like hating white people or calling for the deaths of all white people, you look underneath the hood and it happens to be a Jew again. It's a Jew again. Now, here we have one. I kind of showed this earlier, but we have the changing consumer habits. Okay, we have the teen takeover events where a violent teen takeover resulted in 22 arrests, mostly of individuals under the age of 18 in Tampa, Florida. Police seized 2 guns during the operation. I am so glad that I do not live anywhere near one of these population centers that has a teen takeover problem, because you know these 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old thugs are running around with guns and knives ready to pop off at the first person that disrespects them. Okay, the 22 people under the age of 18 are mostly under the age of 18. It's like these people start so young. The joke about there was a street performer, okay, saying that all black people should start life in prison. Okay, right, that's the starting point. And then if they make it to age, 16 to 18 or something like that, without committing any sort of like atrocities within the prison systems, or let's not even say prison, let's say segregated societies, okay, then they can be let out and into the world at large, okay, something like that.
Yeah, segregated, like Africa.
We're at Gasparilla Plaza. If they can return to their vehicle, we need somewhere to put these 10-15s in.
Okay, obviously that isn't what this is, but this reminds me very much of a couple missions in Modern Warfare where you happen to be looking down over some fields with an AC-130 and you're just clearing off troublemakers from the map, just getting rid of some rascals or something like that. Just it gives me those vibes. I'm not saying why. It just gives me those vibes.
Okay, any units with vehicles like Gasparilla Plaza, please return to your vehicle.
I mean, look at this nightmare, though, of just teens causing violence and mayhem and just absolutely ruining public life. Like, what possible value could these people have in your society? Look at this. Fighting each other, killing each other. The crappy thing is when they pull out a gun, they're going to shoot somebody else. They're going to shoot an innocent bystander. They're going to shoot a little kid. They're going to shoot an old person. They're just going to hit somebody that they don't even mean to hit. It'd be one thing if they were just very judicious with their use of violence and they only killed their own. It's like, mutual combat at that point. Okay, these guys want to engage in mutual combat, whatever. The problem is you do it and you hurt other people that are innocent and shouldn't be involved. Looks like zombie footage. Yes, very much so. Looks like Africa. Looks like African zombie footage. That's what this is. That's what this is. Should have pushed for the nuke kill streak. Yeah, don't worry. Israel's working on it. They're working on the nuclear option as we speak. Now, oh boy. And again, I absolutely hate this one. Remember, gentlemen, that they will find you. They will arrest you for talking about no subjects online. They will send millions of dollars worth of hardware, armored vehicles, hundreds of people with guns aimed at you and your family inside of your home early in the morning for saying words online that they don't like, for distributing information. But, Ramel Burke here shoving the retired elderly teacher Ross Falzone to his death down the stairs of a New York City subway station, probably going to get 1/4 the time that Dugan might end up with. That would be my guess. All right. So prepare to be enraged. Absolute animal, mongrel, monster, subhuman trash. Not worthy of being called a human because I'm a human, right? That thing's not me. That thing's different. Ramel Burke shoving this old man down a subway for nothing. For nothing. No value of human life, no sanctity of human life. Just an absolute piece of trash that needs to be taken out. Honestly, probably not even good enough as part of the biomass reactor. A repeat offender who had already been arrested several times this year, including for 2 assaults, just letting him out. Again, the judges too. Judges go in the biomass chamber. They have to. Arrested several times this year, including for 2 assaults, killed an elderly man in an unprovoked attack in New York City. Hours before the attack, the NYPD had taken Ramel Burke to a hospital for a psychiatric evaluation after he was reportedly acting irrationally on a Penn Station platform. Mysteriously, he was released just 1 hour later. A few hours later, Burke shoved 76-year-old Ross Falzone, a retired teacher, to his death down subway stairs in Manhattan. Burke was arrested 3 times in February for assaulting a police officer, burglary, and resisting arrest. In April, he was arrested again for assaulting a stranger. He was later granted supervised release at arraignment. This animal dog does not need to ever see really anything again, but certainly not the outside of a prison. I mean, just no value of human life, walks off like it's nothing, shouting at other people. He's a danger to everyone. And that is, yes, that is him murdering someone's grandpa, just for fun, as he felt like it. Just for kicks.
Literally no reason. Not that there would be a reason to shove, how old is he? 76-year-old retired man downstairs, but literally no reason. Complete random act of violence just because they're like that.
And Caleb says, wait, you're telling me the cops arrested him 3 times without shooting? No. The cops arrested him probably like 20 times throughout his life without shooting him. That is how kind, that is how polite police officers are to these animal mongrels. Okay. We have a serious lack of police violence in this country. Okay. Because literally, okay, if you or I punched a police officer, we are going to jail. We might go to prison. Okay. We are serving time. We do not get to do that. This animal mongrel, because the judges let him off over and over again because he's a poor
anarcho-tyranny because he's a black.
Correct. But he was arrested 3 times in February, assaulting a police officer, burglary, and resisting arrest. You and I cannot do any of those 3 without being put away for a significant period of time. That's just this year. In April, he just assaulted a stranger, okay? Again, any one of those 4 would have put us away for long enough to where we could never even be out and do this in the first place, all right? So while this NWA gets to run around and be free and to literally murder people, keep in mind the dichotomy here. Dugan Ashley puts out information online that the feds don't like. Harms no one, does nothing to anyone, lives on a farm with himself and his family.
Makes cool, nerdy videos in his garage about cool explosives versus literally killing a guy, assaulting multiple people, multiple robberies by the age of, how old is he? Like 17 or something?
Well, no, he's probably in his 20s or 30s. Who knows how old he is, honestly.
I thought this story he was in, I forget. All the stories blend together, which should tell you all that you need to know. But I mean, every single one of these people that do this stuff have a rap sheet that's, a 20-page rap sheet. Oh, they did this. 10 crimes a year since they were born. What the fuck?
I don't even blame the cops because the cops did their job. They arrested him over and over and over and over and over again at great harm to themselves, right? Because he assaulted multiple police officers, right? That's in his rap sheet from this year. The judges have to be held accountable. The judges have to go to jail. The judges well, maybe not even jail, right? You know, maybe there's a third option here that we're not considering, all right? But the judges have to be done away with.
The judges need to touch a Chinese lathe the wrong way and get spun around comically on LiveLeak.
Yeah. And until that happens, you won't ever fix this issue. Until you fix the judging in America, you'll never fix this issue. Because now we should be like, was it Chile? Was that the one down in South America where or El Salvador?
El Salvador.
El Salvador. The president was like, "Oh yeah, we can reduce crime if we just put all the criminals in jail. All the criminals go in jail. Crime goes away." It's like, oh, that's crazy.
Funny enough,
Crazy.
I took a vacation down to El Salvador a few years ago while it was still very, very dangerous because it was really cheap to go then. And went with my family, and my parents went out to dinner, and they were like 2 tables over from Bukele years before he became president.
Mm-hmm.
So, small world.
It's true. It's Obama's fault. I blame Obama for everything, regardless, even whether it's true or not. It's just funny at this point. Helicopter rides, activists. Yes, the activist judges have to be done away with, one way or the other. They have to be done away with. El Salvador was heinously violent years ago. It's like, think about all of the violence and murder and rape and evil that you see in the world.
It has a lower murder rate than the U.S. now.
But think about it. Like, the person who murdered Irina Zarutska had 14 prior arrests. All right. If he had just been in jail for 5 years, that would have been 14 people not inconvenienced and or murdered by that dog, right? By that outdated piece of farm equipment. If the guy who set that woman on fire on the train that we looked at just a month later had 42 prior felonies. It's like, listen, if we had given him 1 year per charge, we just wouldn't have any of these problems. Think about how little crime we would have in this country if these people were just not allowed to interact with regular humans, okay? If all the NWAs that committed crimes were punished to the fullest extent, or even like punished to any extent, fullest extent is like, that's reaching, okay? But maybe we could get like the minimums enforced for some of these people, maybe for punching someone randomly, we don't just allow you to get back out the next day. Maybe that's what we should do. This one is even more egregious in some ways. Like, before I show you this, I am going to just do a little verification here. I want to make sure that this story is accurate, because if so, like, people need to, it is, of course it is. Of course it's real.
Why wouldn't it be?
Every time I'm like, there's no way this story that I see pop up on X can be real. There's no way that's possible. Can't be real.
It never ceases to disappoint you.
You look it up and you're like, nope, it's real. So this should actually cause like a race riot, like unironically. So a heartless thug just got arrested for walking up and shooting a 7-month-old baby boy at point blank range in Philadelphia. Murdering a 7-month-old baby in a stroller because the dad, problem with the dad, owed the guy $100. F your baby for pulling the trigger, all because the baby's father owed him $100. The innocent child was hit in the leg, so fortunately survived. But the idea that we would let an animal walk around among us who had the so little regard for life that he would shoot a child in a stroller. I could not do that to the son of my worst enemy, right? I would not be morally allowed to do that. There's that code within me that just says, no, it's not possible. I'm not doing that thing. This monster has no internal monologue, should not even be allowed to exist. Baby crying. Oh, this video, yeah, walks up and just shoots it. Unbelievable. What a horrifying nightmare scenario there. Sorry, it's right at the beginning there. Walks up, F your baby, looks at it, pulls the trigger.
Range over his.
For the average person, this is not even something that would enter your mind.
How could it?
$100, I'm going to shoot your baby, your 7-month-old baby. I'm gonna try to kill your child over $100.
Yeah, the child was treated for a gunshot wound to the right leg and listed in stable condition. Police say investigators would later release surveillance video of the shooting on Friday and ask the public's help in identifying the shooter. The shooter is a very usual suspect. It's exactly who you think. You hear of something miserable happening, being conducted by a teenager by a teen, by the youth against somebody old or somebody super young,
Man
my
driving
radar,
car. Just
my
let me know.
radar just goes off every single time. Right? I don't even need to know. I figured it out already. I get it. The baby did live. Yes. John for 2 says, sorry, Zanico for 2 says, John, your wife is taller than you. Weird. Well, I mean, I'm 5'1", so she's close. Maybe I like taller women, and taller women for me is anyone above 5 foot, Maybe my life is real easy that way, okay? Some people are out there trying to find a girl who's like 5'7", 5'9", 6 foot, For you guys, it's like, I want a tall girl, and that's what you mean. For me, it's like, I also want a tall girl, but she'd have to be 5'2". I'm in good shape if she's 5'2". Lightsport for 2 says he actually remembers being raped at 2 years old. Yeah, the talking about the tranny individual who then murdered his parents for denying his genital mutilation surgery. You know what sucks about that though? Depending on where that dude is, he probably still will get the gender or the just genital mutilation surgery, but on the taxpayer dime, right? Because isn't it in like California and a few of those other states that they'll allow you to continue reassigning your just cutting yourself up for fun, I guess, on the
Taxpayer
taxpayers' dollar.
dollars pay for abortions and lopping off dicks and every immoral thing you could think of. You pay for it.
Dude, that is a wild quote, but that is a very, very good quote. Where did he put it? Dillweed says the best version of some people are dead people. It's true. It's 100% true. Like just from a social perspective, what possible value are some of these people? What possible value do they bring? Like, what do they add in a positive manner?
Literally nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
they have no need to exist here.
You can't even give them like a menial job. You can't tell them to stock shelves because they would fuck it up because they're so retarded.
Bro, you are into some weird stuff if you're 5'4" and your wife is 5'9". Like if you have to look up to your wife like this. Maybe
Yes,
that does it for
ma'am.
some people. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I will take out the trash. Fertilizer. Ooh, that's good. Fertilizer, the biomass reactor. There was a reform candidate who won who said that we need to turn immigrants into asphalt, or we need to use them to fill up potholes. So maybe like pothole filament, but that's probably not a very good substance for that. I don't think that's durable. So I mean, we'd have to look into it. I'm sure we can find other uses for them.
Trebuchet ammunition. Just see what happens.
Sure. Yeah, that's human test subjects.
Drop them on our enemies.
Halloween decorations, scarecrows. Okay, we could do a bit of Vlad the Impaler maxing. Okay, on our southern border. Yes.
Christmas ornaments.
It's not. No, because like Christmas, we're thinking about the birth of Christ. We're thinking about the cross, and putting up like an animal on the cross. That doesn't seem like that's not a good representation. I don't like that. Send them to Israel. It's true, actually, Hook. Israel, as much as diversity has been a boon for the West, I feel like Israel's had a really disturbing lack of diversity. And so if we could just, in some way, culturally enrich those troglodytes over in Israel, I think it would be for their good, honestly. So we should do what we can to diversify Israel. That should be a thing. Diversify Israel. That's my new progressive take. Okay, we need to diversify Israel. It's one of the few Eastern or few countries with a pseudo democracy that is not diverse enough for us. So we need to diversify Israel. Yes. All right. Lightsport. Oh, thank you for that, Lightsport. Ton Dogs for 2 says you're pretty good at a gay accent, Dank.
Thanks, I guess.
I mean, again, it's 2 compliments you've gotten today.
Yeah, I feel so appreciated.
Yeah, not great compliments, but hey, when you're begging, you can't be choosing, or whatever that thing is. All right, let me see here. Who am I going to send you guys to? Dank, what do you got coming up? What do you want to shout out before we get out of here, sir?
Nothing really. Pray, go to church. Be Christian.
Based. It's true. Don't be cringe and gay. Be like based and
Don't
straight or
be
something.
a faggot. Go to church, you loser.
Based.
Yeah. Go to the gym. Better
That too?
yourself.
Yep. There we go.
Like, overall, just improve who you are as a person so you can help other people.
I agree. Well, I'll go ahead and we'll take us out of here, I suppose. Let me pull this up. So once again, I am going to drop the give, send, go for Dugan in the live chat for everybody. If you can, if that is your lot in all of this, if that is your part, please do. Actually, let me refresh it because during this
we've already
stream,
smashed the goal.
during this
Over
stream,
15.
yes, it is almost $16,000. The goal has already been smashed. That initial goal, I'm sure it'll continue to go up, whatever it can be. I mean, having been part of very few legal cases, but a couple, like these things can hit insane numbers. So this is a good start, though, and I want to thank each and every one of you who has donated to the cause. Again, if that is your part in this, please do what you can do. If it's not your part, if donations are not your thing, I get it. The economy is bad. We all have our own lives and families and things to take care of. Totally understand that, gentlemen. But if you can, retweet, like, share, do all the silly things to all of the posts that are floating around there about Dugan in this situation. If you can reach out to people who may have some legitimate sway in government, please do that thing. All right. It doesn't take very long. It's a very low effort and even more useful, right? If you can't do either of those things because you don't get any social media and you only watch this show and that's the only place you get your news, which is based. Okay. Just this show. That's it. Nothing else. You don't need anything else. But you should pray about it too. Pray for Dugan, pray for his family, pray for his wife, pray for his kids, pray for the judges and everyone involved that we come to the correct, useful, good outcome for all of us. Okay. It's not just about Dugan. It's not just about his family, though those are very important things that we should keep in our thoughts, in our prayers. It's also about each and every one of us out there because this is bigger than any one person. We should support our people, and Dugan is our guy. All right. And it's Dugan right now, but tomorrow it could be somebody else. So it's important to stop it before it gets worse. It's important to band together. It's important to do something. Okay. Every other group of people out there band together to work for your detriment. It's time to work together for your betterment, for your people, for your future, for the future of your family, your children, and your children's children, something greater than just ourselves. And if Dugan is currently the guy, currently the one in the hot seat, then it's our job to support him until a better option becomes available. So with all that out of the way, gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Hopefully see Dugan and some of the other guys tomorrow at the court. Christ is King. God bless. Godspeed out there, gentlemen.
We're occupied by Zog.